does not like tilapia or pie or cookies for that matter. It's midday. Go get it, boys.
Dang it, not a big deal.
Bottom.
Boom. Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. That right there is your boy Joey Options, and I'm Sharif, and we're trying to persuade Ramin, aka Ram Ram, to put a very good friend of ours on the thumbnail.
There's only one way.
She just won't do it.
Yeah, there's only one way. There's only one way to go about that.
How do we do it, Joey?
You vote.
Get the people to vote. But we got to shout out the people before we ask them to help us out. Shout out to Gorev, Rev Boost, Echo Max, Sundar. We got Stuart D and Sirac. We got Anish. We got Monty G50. Square Language. Shout out to Dylan Patel and Just Play. Farm Traders in the house as well as Sports and Stonks. We got Sarush. Settinger. Who else we got? We got Grandmother's Garden. I like that one. Dude V5. Shout out to Pillsbury and Mike P.D. Ryder. I always love this guy's energy, man. Paul Goodson, Shadow, 7S. We got Jaguar Nut, Britt Brendan, and Duran. Shout out to Nebula 87 and the OG Others Inc. Ronaldo's in the house, and so is Yannick. Who else? We got Why Not? Bob Knob, Bobo Knob, that's it. Kirk D, we got, who else, man? Throw your name in the chat if you're new. BDAC, we got Ramesh, Sir Sri Raj. We got Yummy Thai Foods Todd, charged up 1015. He's all charged up, Joey. T. Joe Beats, yours something or another there. Disco 22, shout out to Grey Worm. Shout out to, Ryan O'Day, Bash 323. Come on, man, some new names. Let's go. Throw in the new names. We got Caps S12, Market Sniper, like that one name. Ket Copy Paste. Okay. Cheese Wizard 3241. I like that one. We got Stigmata. Okay, Stigmata. Is that from Stigmata? Is that from The Fifth Element? Does anybody know what I'm talking about there? Stigmata. There's a movie called Stigmata. That's why we have Assassino on the ones and twos. He keeps us pumped up with this information. Joseph, good morning, my man.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm just pulling up the options chain quick because, you know, that's what we like to do. 180 is where we had some overhead resistance there on AMD, and that's where we got that short from, guys. Also, good morning. I hope everyone's having a solid session. We were shorting some AMD this morning. Why were we shorting this?
Why?
And we'll go over some Bitcoin talk as well, too. But first, we got to fix this up right here. We'll go this to 175. Let's see if that works out. No, it doesn't. And there it's gone.
Oh, no. She wasn't ready.
She wasn't ready. No, but in all seriousness, guys,
yes,
5-minute candle, AMD, right at the volume-weighted average price. Where's my guy, Gorev? Yesterday, we had the other way around. Today, we take it to the short side. Katina Man short the overall market. We were short AMD just off of this specific hammer candle right here. And that worked out. We start small, and then once the thesis starts to work out, we add into this position, and then eventually I just ran out of shares on that one there. So there it is, boom, using the high. Once it starts working out, you add, and then bop, 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 bop. You get that move to the downside right there, just like that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
I like it.
And then it's actually nice. If only it were easy peasy, lemon squeezy, then we would all be having a great time. But there it is, Bitcoin. This is where we got aggresso here, guys, on this one. We were just like, hey, go to this pre-market high, and then we're going to be laughing. That would be a home run ball for your boy. But today it had other plans and decided to sell off. And that's exactly why we don't allow winning trades to turn into losers.
Dang.
Boom, we add, we double it up, triple it up, quadruple. And then we just continuously, I was on a frenzy. I'm like, it's going to work, it's going to work. Take 5% off right here. Doesn't want to work, and then sure enough, it sells off on the day. So that's okay. You get aggressive on certain trades. They work, they don't. That's the name of trading, right? But you just want to keep those risk measures in place. And then that gave me the ability. I wasn't tilted. I wasn't frustrated. Anything along those lines. It allowed me to stay focused and then take that short onto AMD. We have some open interest at that 180. I got to pull up the chart here one more time. Sorry, Shreve, before we send it back to you, brother. I want to break this down and just how we can correlate. I can use this will be actually a little bit better. Okay, so let's put the two together, okay? So where was our high in the pre-market? 180.33. Now I'm going to pull up the chain. Let's see where our highest level of open interest is going to sit on Advanced Money Destroyer. 180, all right? So 11,400 contracts. That's going to be the largest size there, rolling into the earnings report this evening. And then 165, watch out for that one. 165 AMD is dangerous. I know Money Mitch likes this one.
Oh.
Thinks it has potentially more upside than what NVDA has. We'll see about that. 180, call wall. We short that level. Works out really well for us there.
All right, guys. So I just had one quick trade so far on the day on CWD. This is the one that Neil was mentioning on the close of the show. It's up 173 or 71%. It's well off the high zone, 834 high. It is coming back down into $7. Now, this entry over here was as a result of being distracted because I was looking to get in at 6.5 off that VWAP, but quick as it dropped into that 6.5, as quickly as it was bought up. So a lot of other traders were looking for that VWAP retracement as a result of the hammer candle that closed there. So I'm talking about CWD. We're going to keep an eye out on that one. But shout out to my man Bovin. Bovin always bringing the heat in the chat. And he brought more heat today, Joey. Goes by the ticker NFE, bringing this one to my attention. We're on a full boy, big boy breakout right now on NFE, taking out 3.5, Bovin. It's getting really extended. And what I do like about NFE is it's a newer trade coming in, really the volume that is, coming in at around 1045. Really didn't do much in the pre-market or anything at the bell for that matter. So NFE, trade it carefully with all these small cap gappers. I've also got eyes on ZEP, and it's not ZEP bound, Joseph, but it's a bit more expensive of a name here. So EPP, up 34%. It's $23.50 at the high over here. Started out its life today at 17.5, so it's a great move up for ZEPP. Look, the deal with this one is it's so exuberant in the buying, so aggressive, it hasn't had any retracements into the 10 EMA on the 5. The last time we even glanced the 10 EMA's way was 10:10 a.m. So that's that's about an hour ago now. So I'll be looking for a deeper retracement, maybe into the 10, maybe a bit deeper here on ZEPP. So we'll keep tabs on that one. But NFE is going to be in focus, CWD as well as ZEPP. There's others. We might even look at Yalla Habibi over here. Yalla Habibi.
I'm not feeling it, brother. I like this. Can I have your pasta? I'll trade
Get your own pasta.
Yeah,
we don't
see that
get
look
that.
he gave you? Did you see that look he gave you? You disgusted him right there. How does it look, Neil? It looks good. All right. You're going to give us
Everybody in the
a
chat.
little taste synopsis after?
Yeah, give us
let us know.
the taste review.
There you go. So we're going to look at Yalla Habibi here as well. YALA, I'm kidding, guys. Obviously, coming into the volume weighted average price at around 890. Keep it down, Ram. 890 over here. We'll see if this one... Neil, don't encourage her, brother.
Wow.
She has enough energy to defend herself there, Neil. Trust me, I hear what she has to say all the time. But 890 there. We'll see what Yalla Habibi has to offer. But that's it. SMXT, Joseph, was a good one, a triple-digit winner, but it lost VWAP over here at $1.95, and it's dropping down now into the 160. So this one does feel like its better days are behind it. We've got some other names here that may not be strictly small-cap gappers. Unlikely to trade them, as I will stay disciplined with the small-cap gappers. But Lemonade, LMND, a hell of a report. Very, very respectable move up on this name. It's up 28.33%. Trading below that $50 area, 49.30 high. We'll see if this one catches a bid off the volume weighted average price at 46.50. That could be in focus as well. And then DOCN, not DocuSign. This is a different one. Another expensive one as well, 23.2%. Seems to have a lot of support at the 10 EMA. You saw that right over here, and now you're getting another retracement off that 34 high into the 10 EMA. Let's see if it holds up here. I mean, I don't mind trading these more expensive names, but they got to be setting up in the right way, Joey options. So that's what we're going to keep our eye on.
Yes, sir. We got a lot of things to go over. We're going to take a look later on in the day at all of our expected moves, and then we're going to correlate those with the options chain to see what we got going on. So I have 29,730 736 points. I feel like a gambling man today. So who wants to bet me? Who wants
Big
to?
Spile's gonna come out of nowhere
who
now.
who wants to duel me for the 29,736 points? I'm open to that at any given moment. Why? Because I have a hockey game tonight, right? Bang. Also, and then also we're trading some AMD, and then I'm also just averaging into this ETH trade like a madman. So when in Rome, you got to gamble a little bit more. I don't know if that's the saying, but here it is. This is going to be our Rome, and this is what we got going on. Dual all. Let's go. How do I accept this one here? ACC,
wants
EPT,
all the
boom,
smoke.
all the smoke. Let's go. Dual 500. The skip. I don't want to dual 500. I said 29,000. What is that? 500.
Neil, he's violent today.
Yeah,
You see this violence over here?
29,700 and something points is what we got going on. But anyways, guys, let's hop into these markets. Really weak. My VIX calls are sucking right now for some reason. Like I'm not down too much whatsoever. But I thought they would start to trade in the money. Again, I think I'm gonna just let go of those. It was more or less an experimental trade here for me. I do prefer to buy the puts, especially after we've experienced excuse me, a massive increase in the VIX, and I think the longer dated puts is the way to go. Instead of me kind of anticipating some headwinds to come into the market, even though when things are really, really good, the VIX were at an all-time low, and there wasn't too much worry within the market, I'm like, hey, someone's got to figure something to worry about, and I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case, even though we are selling off today. It's a cyclical, I think, the cyclical nature of the market. Sharif mentioned to me last week, is like, yeah, August, dude, we usually sell late July, August, we usually sell, and then you run into that Christmas rally, right? So the Christmas rally, we're looking to have a lot of fun on that one, especially around Christmas time. So we just got to keep our risk.
Hold on, Joseph.
Let's go.
I need to know. The Christmas rally is around Christmas time?
Yeah, I did.
Crazy.
If the people
Why
know.
didn't anybody
If
tell me
anybody,
that?
if you guys didn't know, now you know. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. Hey, the more you know. And we're on the screen too. Shout out Sydney Sweeney and company.
Yeah, Ram.
What's up?
How come she's not on the thumbnail?
She's not on it. We got to vote. But anyways, yeah, guys, that's the only two trades I got going on right now. 1,000 likes. And
Ram's demanding 1,000 likes.
Okay, that's easily. Okay, so that's no problem. 1,000 likes. Sydney Sweeney is going to be on the thumbnail. So there is that simple. Do you hit the like button? I'm gonna count this. I gotta make sure I hit the like. Did you hit the like button?
You know what? You know what the Chilean Nightmare wants us to say?
What?
He's like, look, if we don't hit that 1,000, then the chat will have proven itself to only be able to hit rookie numbers.
Ooh. But yeah, okay.
I'm just saying.
231?
Oh,
what kind of,
crazy.
what nonsense is that? Get that up there. Yes, exactly, Juan Padilla. That's exactly what she has. And yeah, golfing, fisherman, surfer. You got a lot going on, golfing, fisherman, surfer. You're a multi-sport athlete there. I like that one, my friend. But anyway, Sharif, I'm going to be packing my patience on this one, waiting for the move maybe back into the volume-weighted average price in the market, and then maybe a continuation to the downside. Right now, we're experiencing a pullback, and I have no VPA signals that say, "Hey, Joe, to get long." So yeah, I'm just going to be patient. Solid trade on AMD. We took a little bit of a winner there on IBIT, but other than that, we can't complain about what we put up here on AMD Advanced Micro Devices. I mean, I was in at 177, and we got a low of 172, and I was all out at 174.5. So that's it. I just ran out of shares. I'm like, man, boom, boom, boom. I was taking 15% each time, and then sure enough, it just chews up your shares. And I'm like, we broke through the low of day. We're sitting pretty, but now it's time to go over to Adara.
Yeah, first, I'll just mention this news story. Keep an eye on any of these drone-related plays that could be RCAT. There are some others as well. UAVS, I know, is kind of in that drone space. But either way, the U.S. Transportation Department is just announcing or proposing here some new rules that would allow drone flights beyond visual lines of sight without waivers that could eventually pave the way for commercial uses like deliveries, farming, and emergency medication. So keep an eye on any drone stocks. Apparently, the Transportation Department of the U.S. is proposing rules that could pave the way for a lot more innovation in the space. Now, I also want to mention here, congratulations to Palantir. It's now one of the top 20 members here by market cap of the S&P 500. This infographic uses data as of the close on August 1st, 2025. So Friday, at that point, I believe it was number 23 or 24. But either way, this visual shows the weighting of the top 10% or top 50 companies in the S&P 500. I've updated this a couple times since I first made it at the start of the year. One thing I think is interesting is UNH, when last time I posted this was about here where Walmart is. Now it's in like 35 to 50. So UNH's market cap has significantly dropped. It is still in the top 50 market cap of the S&P 500. Other names like Adobe and Accenture are no longer in that space. But either way, pretty rough look for UNH, but great look for PLTR. And if you like fun visuals like this, check us out on X at TTV Research, and always feel free to tag me in our chat if you have any suggestions for infographics you want to see. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Terex. Terex hit help desk 1906. Thank you very much for the $2 super chat. You want me to look at two different names? AIP is the first one over here, guys, and AMRC. They have a partnership and earnings. So AIP, look, this one obviously reported, looks like at 5 o'clock, or was it a headline? Let's find out. AIP, let's just go back to around new employment inducement grants. Is what was, no, that's from the first. What did it say yesterday? Announcing licensing with AMD. Okay, so this is what that is. So Arteris up 57% after announcing licensing with AMD. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but there you see the price action after the bell popping up off that $950 close with the aftermarket high of $15.50. The pre-market high went to $16. Here's the deal, though. If I'm going to trade this as a small cap, which I don't mind doing, it breaches two of my rules. One, it's trading below the pre-market high at around 16 bucks. Second, it's trading below the volume weighted average price at 14 bucks. So as an intraday trade, I'm going to have to respectfully decline. That doesn't mean that it's not a great name for a possible swing or investment or anything else. I'm just talking about intraday, and I'm talking about for myself. Let's have a look at the other one here, AMRC. Let's find out what the headline on that is. Maybe it's the same thing, because I think that's what you wrote there. AMRC from yesterday. Yes, signals $5.1 billion backlog, milestone forecast, continued margin improvement. I think this one was in earnings. Yeah, so this one, Ameresco Q2 earnings and revenue surpasses estimates. So this was a this is an earnings winner from after the bell yesterday, continues in today. Look, I'm not going to trade this because it's not a small cap gapper, but it is clearly finding support off the volume weighted average price once, twice, and do we get OB? He is the one thrice. Who knows? We got two already. We got one at 10 o'clock, and you got a double bottom here at 10:45. Not a bad look at all. So I'd be picking this up if I were trading this at 22.50, 22.75. That's where VWAP is. It looks like it's range bound, and you can totally play the range until and if it breaks down or breaks out, right? And if it breaks out, you hold a piece for the dream. So you play the range to the downside, you wet the beak when we get to the high side of the range, and then, as I said, you hold a piece for that continuation, possibly beyond $24. So both names look fantastic. Thank you for bringing them to my attention. We'll keep tabs on them, and yeah, we'll report back to you. But I got to tell you guys, I'm quite displeased with the pickings. The pickings are slim today in small cap gapper world, at least on my scanner and what I've got up here right now. CWD is losing the bid. It lost VWAP, and it's below the 20, the 10, and VWAP, so that's not of interest to me anymore. Likewise, with SMXT, it's losing the 50. Forget about the 10 and the 20 in VWAP. DOCN is not strictly a small cap gapper, nor do I like the price or the spread, so I'm quite displeased with this one as well. ZEPP is kind of possibly here setting up. Now, what I want to watch for is, does this one find support at the 10 EMA, which is now ahead of that $22 area. It's at 22.10. This one's showing me 22.45. It's got three now with lower highs, with this area being the high of the day at 23.49, and all subsequent candles there have lower highs, including the one that just opened up now, which is losing the bid again into 22.37. So we'll see if this one catches a bit of a bid. I mentioned to you guys YALA. This one also breaking down below VWAP. So where's the continuity today? NFE, as quickly as I gave you this one, and Bovin mentioned it to me, as quickly as it lost VWAP, a Christmas tree retracement, we call that, where you get a big move up and an equally big move down. So, you know, I'm not liking anything like now, Joey, and so I'm sorry. I'm not going to be punching in willy-nilly. If something sets up, then we'll get in, but right now, the pickings are slim.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I can't even. Chelsea Crislow. Hopefully, I didn't butcher that. Pretty straightforward, I guess. Maybe. Yeah, I can look into that for you. I don't know if it did. Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. So we'll have to figure that one out. Someone wants to know if they got their account banned. So.
Oh, probably.
Yeah. That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm pretty sure. It might be. Yeah, it might be the individual. It might be the perpetrator there.
Probably a repeat offender, too.
Yeah, repeat of it. Yeah, we don't want any of that there. But there goes Palantir, guys. Palantir starting to break down. Woo! Through some key support levels right there. Bang. And my boy messaged me today. He's like, Joe, Palantir 180. I said, anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. But this is a big-time gap up. Now this is probably going to close as an inverted hammer candle. And then after that, it's going to probably fill this gap to the downside. So, I mean, this market is, look at this run. This is insane. Yeah, this is absolutely insane. Okay, let's go back to a year of where we're currently sitting at to see how much. We'll go to the 5th. Today is the 5th, right? How much Palantir is up? 700%. What in the days is that, man? That is crazy.
Palantir?
Yeah, 705%. Man, oh man, that is whew. Yeah, that gets me going there. But I mean, guys, I think the move, see, the thing is with the market, it's so hard for me personally with just my style of trading. I like to partake in the trend, and obviously sometimes the secondary play in that second leg can be greater than the first, but you can see just this AMD move. We don't even get back to the volume weighted average price, and we don't even curl as we're starting to curl back over, so we don't even get there. But for me and my style, this is essentially no man's land, and I'm not good at trading in no man's land. So I need to be patient and wait for a precise opportunity. I would rather see an indecision print at an extreme low, and then I can base a trade off of that. Now, the thing is, considering that we're selling aggressively on the session, and then if you try to buy the lows, you're now counter trend trading, so you don't look for that massive recovery, especially when it's been a strong downtrend. But Adara, what do you got for us?
Get it, Adara.
Yeah, we have a pretty massive move here on CNC, UNH, and HUM, all of these health insurance plays moving higher. I'm not seeing any news on this right now, but as you can see, UNH trying to take out, I mean, more than taking out days highs. If I end up finding out why this is, I'm going to actively look into it still. I'll let you guys know, but I wanted to let you know first and foremost, they are making pretty notable moves. Back to you.
Adara, I was looking as well. Yeah, that's a great breakout there on UNH. Really interesting look there, Joey. Yeah, sure. All right, Bovin strikes again. Bovin's been striking lately. LRMR, he brought this one to my attention. Shout out to Bovin. I'm involved in this one, guys. I am looking at adding into this one, having punched in at the high. We're in at 9s. I've wet the beak at 12s, and now I've posted at 14. Here's the deal, though. We're going to defend into 4. So let's go ahead and throw out those orders. What are we waiting for, baby? We're going to defend into that $4 level, and I'll probably even give it a little bit lower because the 10 EMA is actually a little bit below 4 at the moment. So we're going to wait at 404. Shout out to the highway. And then we'll see what else we get. We got prints there at 14. Now it's showing me 15. Okay, let's go ahead now and wait at 16s. It's already showing me 16s, but it's got a cross over here, Bovin. We'll see what LRMR has to offer. It's not the biggest mover on the day. It's up 25%, but on a day where there has been very few, it feels like, that have been running. So order out there to defend that $4 area, and we'll continue to scalp up. Let's throw out some more orders here above 16 in case this one does squeeze. Now, ZEPP is finding a bit of a bitch. Show yourself. This one, what's the spread on this one? Okay. So, yeah, it's like almost 40 pennies right here. I know, Adara. Get it, spread, she says. Get it, Adara. $22.97 on the ask, $22.63 on the bid. That displeases me greatly. So we'll have to either leave this one alone or continue to focus, Joseph, on LRMR. It's going, Bovin. It's going, Bovin. Now we're posting at 20, my main man, Bovin. It's showing me 19, so let's see what this one gets. We're going to add more here, Joey. So we're actually looking for a pullback, not going to lie, waiting for this one to give me a bit more shareage here. Showing me 19s. We're posted at that 10 penny area. Maybe a bad idea to post right at the 10 penny area, but we'll see. Yalla habibi. Shout out to T Money. I see you, T Money, baby. Who else we got? Bro. We got City Boy 305. I wonder where he's from, Joey.
That's our guy. That's City Boy.
Okay. He wants us to look at OTRK. So hold up.
Oh wow.
Oh, wait, Joseph. We got to look at OTRK for your boy. OTRK. RK, show yourself OTRK. Good look there. Okay, so it's a south of 50 pennies at the moment, but it's up a respectable 83%. Now, you know, I don't really have an affinity for these sub $1 names, but on a day, Joseph, when they're, you know, there's not that much, so we might have to actually weasel into one of these. So it's already earned its way onto the side chart. We're going to take off NFE because it looks like hot garbage, OTRK. We'll throw that in there, and we'll replace, what was that, SMXT? No, CWD. We're going to put OTRK in that bad boy. Not a bad look, man. Not a bad look. I'd be picking this up off if it gets a bit deeper there, maybe 44 pennies, where the 10 EMA and VWAP are. Otherwise, ride the trend. You're getting 4 candles in a row with higher lows, not necessarily higher highs though. This current red candle does not have a higher high, but it certainly has a higher low. So be on the lookout for that. OTRK, I'd definitely be persuaded to get into that. Let's move back, though, to LRMR, coming back down into 10s. That's fine with me, as I've been looking to add more. So we're waiting at 404. It's showing me 9s. We're involved at 9. So let's see if we get the ad here, Joey.
Absolutely. Tolia, thank you for that $5 super chat. Much appreciated. Nothing behind it, so just make sure you tag myself or Sharif in the chat so we can see your question. But thank you very much for that, as always, guys. Definitely goes a long way, that's for sure. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say NH, but anyways, UNH, here it is. You break through some
French.
I honestly. So when did I enter high school? Probably 2007 was the last time.
Tell everybody though that we don't have a choice. We have to learn French from grade 4 onwards.
Yeah.
Basically from grade 4 to grade 9, then you have a choice.
Then you have a choice,
Yeah,
and I exercised my choice after that one.
So did I.
Yeah.
So
there
did
we go.
I.
You know what?
So did me.
Listen. I've never failed a class in my life. The worst grade that I just passed French with like a
Français?
56. Yeah,
Français?
56. Yeah, I never failed a
boy.
class in my life, but 56 in French. I was like, bang, yeah, let's go. I got out of there, and I was like, man, I'm so thankful I didn't have to take that for another year.
Another year, that would have been brutal.
Yeah, brutal. And then I would have been in
say
grade
something
10.
to you.
Yeah.
The way they taught it to us, though, was maybe a little bit wanting. You know, I think that there's a lot better ways to learn language, as you and I are demonstrating. You're smashing Spanish, I'm smashing Mandarin, and I have a genuine affinity for it. I genuinely like it, as do you. Yeah. Right? So maybe it was on them, Joe.
Yeah, well,
maybe it wasn't us.
100% on the school board there, man. Never mind those guys. So yeah, that's what we got going on. UNH looking pretty good, guys. Let's zoom in and see what we got going on from a 1 minute standpoint. That volume is definitely being sustained. So I'm glad that it wasn't just like anything just blowing out of the water and just a one-trick pony volume signature, but you can see that the volume is just continuously keeping up with this momentum to the top side. So really good look there on UNH. But if we zoom out and head to the daily, not so much so. This is where everything just really started to go south for this name. Down 60% off of those previous pivot highs. That's not the all-time high there, but a nice pivot high there from peak to trough, 60%. Man, oh man, it's going to take a lot for this name to recover. And I know a lot of people are looking to swing trade this, and even I was too, especially on this base. I'm like, okay, maybe we can head into this gap, but it said broke through some of those support levels and continued that northeast or southeast trajectory, and that's not necessarily something you want. But I think if you have the ability to get on those lows, slowly DCA into this name, who knows, it can maybe possibly start to recover there. But before we send it back to my guy Sharif, let's go over the top performing sectors. Yesterday we were all green. I'm gonna suspect the other way around today. Let's see if I'm right. Are my suspicions? No, that's not what we wanted there. We want this one. Here it is, UDD. So materials up about a third. Consumer staples, same thing. And then we have real estate just a little bit under a tenth. Then our bottom three are going to be the energy sector down 0.8, tech sector down 0.8, and then utilities closer to down 0.9. Now, year to date, you can see that the Qs have been performing really, really well. But let's see what we got going on for the week. Everything is negative on the week. Now, on the month, we have the Dow is negative, the IWM is negative, but the SPY and the Qs are still holding on there, Sharif, by a couple percentage points. Adara, what do you got?
Get it, Adara.
Here's something else that's negative, Bitcoin. This is the 3-minute chart. I'll switch to the daily so you guys can see this is not a great look for BTC on the daily chart. We did have that support here at 112,000. That's going back to this Saturday and Sunday. Now that level is so significant because it was the previous all-time high. for BTC. Now we make a bit of a pseudo topping tail candle yesterday. We're not able to get above that 16,000 level, and we're pulling lower today. Can we hold that 100? What was the exact level? I guess around 112, basically 112,000. We'll have to see if we can hold that. Right now, we are below 113,000 in the high 112,000s. This could be a pretty make it or break it point for Bitcoin, at least in the shorter term. I do want to mention also, we have a bit of another potential crypto IPO on watch. Not immediately, but it could be coming down the horizon. It's called Bullish. This is a crypto exchange. It's backed by Peter Thiel, who's of course been involved with Palantir and other names. Apparently, this crypto exchange is looking for a valuation of up to $4.23 billion, and it wants to list here in the US. Now, this is significant because previously, I guess going back to 2021, Bullish was trying to go public via a blank check merger. And at that point, it was looking for a $9 billion valuation. So now, $4.23 billion valuation, bit of a discount here potentially for Bullish. Apparently, they're going to be seeking up to $629 million in the offering. They're offering 20.3 million shares, price between $28 and $31. Let's see if this attempt for Bullish to go public ends up being bullish for the company, to make a bit of a pun. Also, keep an eye on Coinbase, COIN. Right now, actually holding up well above that $300 level, but it's been trying to reject it for a while. This one week, again, this is day 3 earnings. The earnings were not well received, pushing lower today, though, after announcing a $2 billion bond offering, which includes the option to convert into stocks. Let's keep an eye here on COIN and see what it'll do with this make it or break it $300 level. Back to you.
For that, Adara. All right, here's the deal. LMR is breaking out. We're moving up. We got the higher highs, we got the higher lows. We just wet the beak there at 23. Shout out to Jordan. So this one is making the moves. I am a little disappointed because I did not add more shares on the drop back down. Now, what this ended up doing was it didn't really respect technical levels. What it ended up doing was putting in higher lows on each successive candle, and I should have been gauging that. That's on me to pick up that kind of trend. So I didn't see that, and I didn't execute on it. So we've got what we've got, and now it's coming back down a little bit into the mid-teens. So 423 LRMR. Let's see if it can hold 4. It's got a topping till candle that I don't like the look of right now personally. So let's see if this one ends up being just a momentary blip or what the situation is. This one's actually going to make a newer low. Okay, so this candle could be trouble here. Ooh. So this candle is actually going to breach the prior candle low. The prior candle low is at 09s. We're actually at 09s right now, showing 10s as well. So keep an eye out on this one. I'm also worked into OTRK, sub 50 cents, sub $1, sub everything. But we don't have a lot to choose from, sadly, in small cap gapper world today. So we're going to give this one the old college try. Let's see if it can clear that 50 penny level. It's got a 53.5. Penny high on the day. 53.52 is exactly the high. I took a beak water at 49 and I'm posted at 50. Let's see what we get. Anything below, I think I put my out there at 44s. So if it loses 44, I'm out. I don't have a lot of hope for this one. Ooh. So I'm keeping my eye on this one. Joseph, LRMR is really the one I'm trying to focus on at the moment. We'll see what this one has to offer. Oh, okay. You can do X. Thank you very much, my friend, for the $10 super chat. Held today's Palantir call options. This is for you, Joey. Held today's Palantir call options to expire this week. Bought before it tanked. Can Palantir bounce back above 175 today? What's your look there, man?
Oh, man, that's the thing, right, guys? So I think Havana, Pug Life, and Los Pollos, so all are veteran options traders. I'm curious to see what you guys think of this, and I think it's almost like a rule of thumb. You don't want to be buying options after the reports, right? Because why? It's just a simple factor in just volatility. Pug Life, I know you're an amazing trader at that front, but I'm curious to see if you agree with me.
Get it, Pug.
You don't want to be buying options into earnings reports, right? I mean, the at-the-money IV isn't crazy, 62.6%. Can it get back to 175 today? I mean, anything can happen, right? Is it going to? I mean, that's $5 away from where we're currently sitting at $4. For me personally, I would just say, again, but I could be so wrong, right? And that's the thing. Like, with us, it's just by the time. I hate hearing, oh, I'm $5 out of the money and the contract expires in 3 days. Well, it's like, okay, well, first of all, as you get closer to the expiration cycle, theta's going to really start to kick up, and then it's going to start to really decay the value of that contract. And then not only do you have to, as you get closer to the expiration cycle, you also need to exceed the strike price on what you've bought it at in order to even make any forms of money. And here it goes. Palantir moving to the downside, 169.50 roughly. And I'm going to give you a straight out answer, it's going to be no. Can I be wrong? Absolutely. I want to be wrong for your sake, but at the end of the day, just make sure you jot it down. Don't be buying contracts after the report. Make sure you have a game plan. If you're playing straddles, strangles, or writing after, I wouldn't even like. So that's the thing with writing. I can go on all day about this stuff. It's like writing is more or less the way to go because one, you have the increase in volatility, and then day after day, once the average true range and the implied volatility starts to decay, that's when you're going to start collecting the premium. And the reason of writing after earnings is because you're going to have that max implied volatility, and that's going to allow you to collect as much premium as possible. Instead of the inverse, when you're buying, it works against you. So you need to keep that in mind. We're now trading at 169.69, Shreve. I know you like that number, but the chances of it going to 175 are slim. We have call wall at 170, call wall at 165 that it might even head towards today. Today it might even go to 165 just because of the 30,000 open contracts that are at that 165 strike price. So just keep that in mind. How do I know this? Ask me. Well, I've done it, and it doesn't work very well, all right? So that's just my opinion. Anything can change the volume, the volatility, some positive catalyst can come out, but now that you need it to surpass 175 by the time your expiration cycle hits, I don't know. You might be in a little bit of trouble because this market looks like it wants to sell here, Sharif.
Okay, Joey. I'm going to get to the super in a second. Thank you very much. I don't know why I can't see these names. What's going on here? Mike Lowry, how could I not see that name? We're going to have to answer Mike Lowry's question very quickly because he's a very important individual. Shout out to Mike Lowry. All right, here's the deal, though. OTRK, we're doing it freaking live. It's taking out levels. Here we go. We're getting into that high of the day. We're awfully close to breaching high of day, 52.5. I'm posted up at 53. Let's see if we can get some continuity. A big seller at 52.5, so we'll have to pack our patience. I love these sub $1 stocks. They move so smoothly. No, and I am being facetious about that. So Mike Lowry's comment says as follows. Can you, first of all, thank you for the $5 super chat. Can you look at open, please? Also, I sent a couple of dollar super chance about super chat, I'm assuming, about Apple, but I don't know if the $2 super chat showed or not. Thanks, bro. Absolutely. Look, we'll cover both for you. So, Joey, I'll do open. And can you do Apple?
All right. Absolutely.
So, you know I don't want to cover Apple, right?
Well,
so, yeah, we got to disassociate the bias.
You got to get right in there in the thick of it and just look it dead in the eye, Sharif, and be like, yeah, I own you. You do what I tell you.
You do what I tell you, you little bad word. Thank you. No, seriously. Okay, guys, we are taking out levels right now on OTRK. Sorry, I'm just going to have to post. So we're going to post at 55, and then we're also going to post at 56. Let's do it freaking live over here. Let's see if we can get OTRK. Good luck. But let's look at open. First and foremost, let's go to the 4 hour. We'll start with the 4 hour. So not a bad recovery there. I mean, we definitely got the squeeze. We know open door was a big one on Wall Street bets, and we saw the squeeze into mid to late, July. And, you know, we're definitely not tanking in a V-shaped fashion, but we are making some lower lows that we need to account for. But you kind of feel maybe this one found its footing a little bit over here at a predictable level of support. I'm talking about that $1.75, and that $1.75 came into play before as well. Have a look at what it did over here at that $1.75 area. It found support before making the squeeze into 5. So you put lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Then that changes with this area, 258, making a higher high. So it's not a bad look, and I don't really have anything to say about the fundamentals of the company. This is just a TA look. Now let's have a look at the intraday 5-minute look. Not bad from Friday onwards. We certainly caught the bottom there on Friday. We gap up yesterday. Today, very, very even. Look what we did at 8 p.m. yesterday. We basically closed out at 2:55 at 8 p.m. and then at 4 a.m. today opened up right at that same area. So we're certainly within yesterday's range. In fact, what I would say to you is we have higher lows with that same area top at around 260. So this is not a bad look at all. At least, you know, on a shorter term time frame, I'm talking about that, you know, half an hour, 15-minute sort of look. I don't think this is bad at all, but you certainly got a seller at around, you know, 2 high 50s, 260s, something like that. But oh baby, here we go again with OTRK. Let's wet the beak because this one is breaking out to the high side. Shout out to my main man, Bovin. As always, he comes with the goods, and this one's breaking out levels again. So let's post at 59.
Oh, you did it, didn't
I took out
you?
too much on that last one right there.
Oh, let's go. That's a face.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It could have been better. Certainly could have been better. We'll do better next time. But yeah, OTRK is on the move up, so I'm going to be looking at this one for a pullback, Joey. Likely maybe in around 50 pennies. I'm thinking we've cleared 50 pennies by some distance here. If it doesn't keep going, I'm going to be looking to pick it up. What's your look on Apple for our man, Mike Lowry?
Mike Lowry. Who is, that's such a familiar name. That's
Are you
crazy.
kidding me, bro?
Yeah.
You're kidding. Hold on, Neil.
Oh, bad boys.
Which one?
One.
Both. Trick question.
I'm gonna go 1 and 2 and 3.
Nah, I think he's at 3 as well, obviously, right? Goes without saying.
Goes without saying.
Oh,
no,
boy.
Apple.
Mike Lowry.
Man, I'm not even gonna lie, man. I'm starving. I went on a monster run yesterday, and it was hot. The air quality was garbage, and I did a nice leg workout after as well too. So I'm starving right now.
Really
we got
bad, bro.
we got
air quality is
tilapia
really
for
bad,
lunch, man. Anyways, back to AAPL. So I think what the stock is waiting for here as well too, guys, is just something positive to come out.
Oh,
I've been
there's
trying.
4? I didn't know there was 4. I thought there was 3. There's
There's
4 bad boys?
There is.
I didn't know that.
Wow,
Dang,
what you
bro.
gonna do?
Old as hell.
What you gonna do when they call for you?
Shout out to Luthic X, my bad.
Yeah, our bad there on that one. But I think this stock is just waiting for some positive news to come up under it here in order for it to break out. You can see that we've been just trading within this range. So it's a solid consolidation. But for me personally, to get involved with this, we obviously want to see some more things come out on the AI front from Apple. And then I think that can really get the ball rolling on here. Are we going to get that super cycle on the 17? Maybe if that Apple roll comes out and Siri just blows everyone out the water. But I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case. So with this name in particular, I'm going to be extremely patient. Nor I attempted swinging it actually. I forget, and it just I forget how it went. I got to look at some of my documents, but it wasn't bad.
You were
I think
positive on it.
Yeah, I think I mean exactly. But it wasn't substantial. It was like $100, couple $100 or whatever it was. And I'll take it. But I was looking for a little bit more in the trade and kind of break through. And this is what I was talking about. Like you can see that the Nasdaq and a lot of the Mag 7 have put in new all-time highs, and then Apple's still down 25% from this previous all-time high, right? So you got to keep that in mind, 22.8 to be exact there. But yeah, that's what we got going on. So let's talk about this. Be balling. So that's Apple. Be patient, consolidating. You want to get in at the lower end of the ranges. If it starts breaking through support, then just get out of the trade and start buying lower once again. Because I think eventually it will rebound. They will get it right. They will get it right. Just speak words into fruition and sure enough, manifest it. And then sure enough, they'll get everything. But I think they're going to have to outsource it. They're already years behind. Perplexity may be the way to go on this. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just giving Tim Cook some ideas here. You can listen or not listen. Either way is fine. Yeah, either way is fine. So now B-balling. Do you ever DCA into options play to lower the premium, play the reversal, DCAing into a stock? Yes, I do. Okay, so I do DCA into contracts. I've done it with iBit multiple times and other names as well too. But you got to understand, you still have to have a game plan. Now, what I have been working on as of late is more or less a hybrid system. Okay, so this hybrid system will include both shares and options. Now, how do I run this? Okay, so I will start a position with just shares. And then once the thesis really starts to pick up, it would be 50 shares, 25 shares, whatever it may be. I want to have my skin in the game. But when things start to work out, that's when I really start to add into the position using options. Why? Because it's the method that I use, and I tell you guys, even from an intraday standpoint, is the free rolling, that's fine. Is the free rolling method, right? So essentially what's going on is I'm using unrealized gains to add into the position to make it significantly longer using a leveraged derivative. Yeah, you see what that guy's saying? I don't know what he's up to. ASMR collect and play. So I don't even know.
Even more reason to cut rates. Are we talking about?
No, I don't even know what he's talking
Your
about.
logic
here.
is so
he might be talking to somebody else.
Yeah,
might be talking to somebody else there. There's no Drew job. He's probably arguing with somebody else there. I thought it was
but
anyways, getting back to what I'm saying, options are great. but you have to understand how to. I know you weren't. I appreciate you. Thank you, not you, King. I much appreciate it. So, anyways, getting back to what I was saying here earlier is that. Use this hybrid system is because with the shares, you don't have to worry about time decay. But if you're going to use the leverage product, so, okay, yeah, I buy 50 shares, I'm $2 in the money. Well, guess what? Let me buy a couple contracts now and risk that $100 on those contracts to add more into the position. But I'm not buying a week out, a month out, or anything along those lines. For me personally, it's minimum 6 months out. Why? Because I want to use the derivative correctly to the point where I don't have to worry about time decay. Now, if I'm buying these further dated contracts, yes, your gamma is lower, that's fine. And yes, the delta is going to be slightly lower as well. But if the thesis really starts to work out, that's when you're going to hit that one-to-one gamma, or sorry, that one-to-one delta, and the gamma will increase as well. So don't worry about paying a little extra money. It's going to save you dollars in the long run.
Does my CoreWeave option put have any application here? Because
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so should we show them?
Yeah, so pull it up here.
Should we pull it?
So what Sharif and I did with CoreWeave here is that we bought a put. We bought an extremely out the money put.
Yeah. So let's tell everybody this is the sim account, right?
Yeah.
So let's just show them over here, Joey. So what we got. We got this back. I don't exactly know what date, but we got it September 19th, 2025, $100 put, right? So where's CoreWeave at right now? Show yourself, CoreWeave. Give me 1 second so we can just compare the price. So CRWV, not the option. So CoreWeave is at 108, right? So it's an $8 out of the money, barely out of the money at this point. But I'm out of the money.
$1,700.
$1,700 there, Joey. $1,685. Yeah.
And to note, we purchased this put when CoreWeave was around 160 or 150 or something along those. It was high, right? It was relatively high. Now, why haven't we made any money on this? I was thinking about it. I lost sleep about it. I'm like, what's going on about it? I didn't actually. I'm being sarcastic. But obviously, my mind is always consistently running. But there was two factors that came into play. The largest factor in this one was that when we purchased the put, the at-the-money IV was in the hundreds. So we were paying an extensive premium just because of the average range of the stock can fluctuate in a yearly basis. Now, it's when you buy something at 150 and you buy an out-the-money put at $100, you need it to work relatively quick and fast. Otherwise, you're going to just lose money, not alone to theta, but also to the decay in implied volatility. It was too high. But you're saying, hey, Joe, that doesn't make sense because when stocks go down, volatility usually picks up. But you got to understand, when CoreWeave was moving up here, the average true range was extremely high. We brought it up in this realm, and look at the volume too. That can support it. So that's where we went wrong on that put, Sharif. We bought it too far out of the money, and we bought it when IV was too high.
Clearly, what I love about this is I actually got to learn my lesson.
Exactly.
And I got to do it without actually losing any money. And the thing is, you were nice enough to kind of show me the ropes.
Absolutely.
And obviously.
But see, the thing is, that's the beauty thing we know now is that, hey, that far out the money isn't always that necessarily good. As attractive as the price may be, that's what the thing is about those options premiums and the out the money and the near dated is it's lucrative. It's drawing you in $300 for the rights to 100 shares. I'll do that all day. Well, guess what? The options market is smarter than all of us. They know what they're doing. So next time, you start the position with shares, Sharif. Once that volatility cools off, you buy the at the money put, and if you had bought it if we would have bought that at the money put at 160 at 150, you would be $50 in the money on that, and you would have collected a nice amount of cash on it. But that's again a lesson learned.
There you go.
Started with shares, let it work off, let things cool off. Once the thesis starts working out, volatility cools down, you get involved with the contract, and then you allow it to work.
No, and I love how this happened because I've been always saying I really want to get into that options game.
Sure.
So this is our IRL stuff. Here we go, guys. We're doing it live again on OTRK. We're back in. Let's see if it can take out 62 pennies. There's a seller at around high 61s. I'm talking about 61.8, 61.9. Let's see if we can shake them. Here it is again unable to get through that 61.9. He's gone. All right, now we're posted up at 65. This is an add into the original position. So I had a DCA here for 50 pennies, which I don't think is accurate anymore, obviously. So we'll cancel that one, but we are far removed from it, so I don't have to worry too much about it at the moment. So let's see if OTRK can start squeezing, possibly into that dollar. It's now up 120%, 122%, but we know the characteristic of these sub $1 stocks, they have a hard time really clearing a lot of these levels because there's just so many different areas you can post sell orders, offers at. So we'll see exactly what the situation is. I'm interested in picking up some more since we don't have too much over here. What I'll be looking for is the breach of prior bar low. So prior bar low currently is at 57 pennies, let's say, give or take. We're there right now. So we actually made a new area low over here. So we did breach prior bar low. Let's see if this one comes down and gives us an opportunity to get a little bit more because we don't have that much left. So I'll continue to wait for this one. I'll wait with this active order over here, but I think I got to move it up. So I had it at 51 pennies for the volume weighted average price, but I think I'm going to move it up to the 10 EMA. So I'm going to move it up to 52 pennies. Let me take off my current dip trade at 51. We'll go ahead here and post for 52. So we'll do just that. There we go, 0.52. And we'll set that order there. Now, I'm still waiting for something to happen over here on LRMR. I picked up some more as this one moved into the 10 EMA on the 5. The volume has really dropped off a cliff off LRMR, but it's holding the 10 EMA generally. What I'm looking for here is the first candle to make a new high, and I'll add some more. So we got 08s on. It's showing me 7, so I don't have to worry too much at the moment about this one. But there's a couple other ones I want to bring to your attention. DOCN, I didn't want to trade this given the price and given the spread, but this is a great looking chart pattern over here on DOCN. There it is into the highs, 34.18. Fantastic look. And the volume profile is dropping off a little bit, but I think that there is sufficient amount of volume for you to get exactly what you need without a really wide spread. Also, I want to bring to your attention ZEPP. So this one lost the 10. It's trying to work back above it. I think this one's a good squeeze candidate into 25 if we can really get going. Again, the volume, though, is dropping off here midday, dropping off a cliff because we were doing about 75,000, 60,000 shares per 5-minute candle. That's dropped off significantly. Now we're doing like mid-teens, single digits. So I don't know. We'll have to see if the buyers want to step into this one. Yes, but there's OTRK. It dropped aggressively into my order. Oh, no, I had my stop in the right. Clean up your stops, people. Clean it. We can get in here.
Thanks for reminding me, my brother, man.
What happened?
I have to clean mine up. I had a stop order out on AMD. And then I just reminded to take it off there. So thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. What do you got, Joey?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right. Yeah, we're long some TQs here to see what we got going on. Small size just to see if we can add a little bit to this nice day of ours that we've somewhat established and put together for ourselves. So there it is. TQQs long off those lows. Hold on. Let me pull it up on our other chart. Why am I long, guys? It's just after continuous selling. Now I'm personally starting to see some buying pressure step in on these 5-minute candles. There's the TQs, and there it is, right? So you can see that we made this additional leg lower. Boom, you get that pullback. Now we have this hammer, inverted hammer. So a lot of buying pressure. What do we risk? Just below this here. All right, so it's that simple, right? That's why I like grabbing some of these bottoms, but you have to be extremely patient on that front in order to do so. And we're getting a nice pop. Oh, maybe I should grab a little bit more, maybe some more. But yeah, that's what we got going. That's what we got going on with this one. Here, let me pull up TQs. That's what I was gonna do. So yeah, see if we can get this bounce. It is starting to break through, but this is going to be a key support level right there, resistance, and you can see that we knocked on that door. No one answered that one, so we'll have to be patient. Maybe we can get back to the volume weighted average price today, but I think it'll be more or less a slow grind. There's no definitive stopping volume right here, maybe with the exception of this engulfing candle. Things take time to turn around, right? It's not a speedboat, more or less a cruise ship. Whoa. Slow turnarounds on some of these days, but a nice definitive base right here at 85.40. So long TQs. 86 is going to be one of the primary targets. What's our average? So that'll give us 30 cents. And I'm only risking, okay, no, I don't like that. So we're going to have to wait for a little bit more because I'm in at 71s and I have to give it to at least 25s. All right, so just keep that in mind. So I got to look for a little bit more of a risk to reward ratio on that one. So that one's going to be closer to 80s, 80s, right? Or sorry, 86, 80. That'll give us $1 on that one. So yeah, a nice 3-to-1 is going to be the primary target for the TQs, or even this pivot high. I'll take that one. 86.66. We like that number, Shreve.
We like that. I like that too, Joey. All right.
You like that?
LMR, MR, curling off the 10 EMA. We got a couple of beak wetters there. Now we got 7s on. Just took out 12s. I'm posted at 14s as well. Let's see if this one's got the juice to kind of make an attempt at that 4.25. It's a 423 high day, but I'm really focused now on OTRK. So we added here into 52s, scalped up into 53s twice, and $52.50. Anything below 48s, I think I'm going to get out. I don't want to deal with this one below the $0.50, especially not below the volume weighted average price and the 10 EMA. So I'll give this a 2-penny buffer in case, you know, I get stop hunted. What I'm looking for is a general hold of the $0.50. There should be ample amount of support if the bulls are in control. There's a bunch of reasons why it should be there, because there is the psychological area of support and resistance at the $0.50 that we talk about, but you also have the 10 EMA and the volume weighted average price at 50 pennies. So if it doesn't hold up there, then I've gotten wrong, and I'll readily accept that. We'll give it to 48s. If it doesn't hold up at 48s, that's the end of the story. But LRMR is heading back up again. We get the print at 14s, and now we got nothing on. We got nothing posted here, Joey, so we're going to post at 17s, and we're going to post at 20s. So let's see what we can get on my friend LRMR. It's been good to us today. Let's see if it continues to be good to us. Back to OTRK, popping right back up into that 52.5. Now what we do have is a higher low on this current candle. We certainly don't have a higher high. We got to clear 62.5 pennies to get that higher high, but we do have a higher low, and it is showing me, at least for the moment, that the buyers are stepping in at around that $0.50, which again is also the 10 EMA and the volume weighted average price, but it's not good enough for them just to step up and prevent it from descending. We need to ascend. So is there going to be enough buying over here, and are we going to be able to out pressure the sellers who are looking to take profits or short up here? So I'm going to be watching OTRK closely. Full disclosure, I don't like trading these sub $1 stocks, but again, we talked about this, so there's just not too much going on the day. So we're trade this the best we can, but if we fumble the ball, we fumble the ball, and then we'll get benched for a couple of plays there. Right away, you drop the ball.
Right away, jail. Right away.
If you fumble the ball twice, would you?
So as
not
a running
you,
back,
but if
as
you,
a running back.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, especially as a running back,
Yeah.
because you're and wide receiver as well, but more like running back.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you sit them out for certain plays for discipline, or do you sit them out for psychology?
I give him the ball again.
You give them the ball again right away.
Instantly, right away.
How about 2 fumbles in a game?
2 fumbles, that's fine. I give you the ball. If I have a star running back, I'm going to keep putting it in their hands.
I like that.
Right? Because as a competitive athlete, I think if you get to any form of that, it's like, hey, you just got that mental durability. It's like, just keep putting it on my stick, keep putting it in my hands.
Yeah.
That's just my mentality.
But like you play, obviously you're a hockey guy, but you pull a goalie after 5 goals.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
That's kind of what
I'm real quick to pull a goalie, though.
So you'd be real quick to bench somebody.
Yeah.
Yes, I knew it. Yeah. You flipped the script quickly on those
But
guys.
a star player, I'll let you keep rolling there. What happened there?
Sports,
yeah.
Let's go sports. Shout out to Obi. No, seriously though. All right, you sit that down, says Galbs.
Right.
Sorry that Streamlabs doesn't like your language there, but it's okay. I'm good with it. Shout out to Bovin, telling me PAC, P-A-C-K, is testing the high of the day. I don't have any information on this. Now I'm seeing it on my scanner at 4.25. Let's look at PAC. P-A-C-K. Show yourself, PAC. All right, Bovin, it's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad at all, Bovin. Why doesn't it show me the information? I was looking at the wrong one. This is sub 1 million shares on the day, Bovin. Yeah, the volume did come in, to be fair to this one. So we just got a 5-minute candle there with about 100,000 shares. I'm going to keep this one on watch, Bovin, but it's not immediately apparent whether or not this one's going to be tradable with any, good liquidity. But you did have a couple of volume spikes over here initially at the open, and then a little bit recently here right at 1150. So thanks for that, Bovin. Going to keep my eye out on this one, but for the moment. A little bit light on vol. Watching OTRK, here comes 53. We couldn't really shake 53 and we're unable to shake it still. So 52.7s is really the top for the moment, but we do have some bottoming tail candles. There's 53 got shaken. Can we squeeze into 54 here and get a couple of prints? 53.5 showing up. This is why I don't like these sub $1 stocks, bro. There's just so many areas to post at. So we'll take some there and what the beak, and then maybe when we get back, we'll have printed a few more. We're going to go to happening now with Adara, and then Neil's got his lesson of the day.
I'm going to go check out what they got in the kitchen there.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good. Fish.
Yeah. Neil's pasta.
Nasdaq here, a bit of a double bottom on the 15-minute chart around that 559.80 area, just below 560. We did have this market actually gapping up, but pushing a little bit lower after we had weaker than expected IS services PMI coming through at 10 a.m. The S&P 500 looking pretty similar to the Nasdaq, though I would say we've had a lot more touches of this level of support for the SPY. It's 927 than what we were seeing with the Nasdaq. With the SPY, we also have a discernibly lower low, even on that 15-minute chart. Here is Coinbase. This name has been really weak, but as I mentioned earlier, still finding decent support at $300 level. What's happening with COIN? Well, they did announce a $2 billion offering of bond offering here, so that's sending this one to the downside. Palantir also a little bit weaker despite initially a really strong performance here, making new all-time highs on another blockbuster earnings report. Right now finding some support around that 169 halves level. Let's see if that can hold up. I'll also show you guys HIMS. One of many earnings plays we had today with HIMS, VRTX, Vertex. We had CRSP as well, NVTS, Lemonade, CAT, Pfizer. The list goes on. And tonight, the list's even going to get crazier, guys. AMD, Super Microcomputer, Rivian, and Lucid. So if you like smaller earnings, vehicle-related earnings names, we've got them all. Make sure to join Sean and myself on the Market Recap Show, 4 p.m. Eastern. But way before that, we have Neil and his lesson of the day. So, Neil, why don't you take it away?
Thank you, as always, Adara. The lesson of the day is brought to you by the discussion that was just happening. I just pivoted. I was going to talk about something else, but when the boys were just mentioning how quickly would you bench a running back for fumbling, I actually thought of something that a really quality baseball coach when I was younger used to discuss, and he used to believe in this a lot. And he said there are two types of errors, especially when you're an athlete. There's physical errors and there's mental errors. And if you have a hardworking athlete, you probably don't want to get in the habit of punishing them for a physical error. I don't care who you are, how good you could be the wizard. No one knows who Ozzie Smith is, the greatest defender of all time. You could be Steph Curry on foul shots and who makes like over 90%. You will miss. You will boot a ground ball. You will drop a fly ball in your career if you've ever played the game. You'll dribble the ball off your foot. You will fumble a football. All of these things are just the nature of the sport, and every now and then it's just some little bad luck, the angle with which someone put the hit, the fumble comes in, kind of like a little bit of a bad hop and it kicks off your glove. And maybe you could have done it better, but it's a small physical error. Or there is, I forgot how many outs there are and threw to the wrong base. That's a mental error. And I think if you have a hardworking athlete, you can work your way out of the physical errors and reduce them to zero as close to as possible. But the mental errors are the ones that are the real concern. Because, and I'm going to take this to trading, because when you make, I'm going to distinguish them in trading. When you make the mental type of error as opposed to just the physical, and I'll get to an example of a strategy, the differences in outcomes can be gigantic in terms of your downside risks. So if I'm taking this toward trading, I'm going to give you an example of a losing trade that I lose no sleep over. Because it is a simple matter of it was wrong at the right level with the quality risk plan that I had no trouble with, and it was wrong for 2 days in a row. And that's going to be Tesla. Now, why did I want Tesla breaking, for 2 days in a row, why did I want Tesla breaking out over 312? Well, earnings gap, where did it sell from on day one? 312. What happened when it ran the next day? 312, clean into 323. What happened when it lost 323? Pull back into 312. Next day, pull back into 312 and then further. So I immediately am like, if this breaks out, I'm thinking all day long to 23 is the room to the upside. $10, $11 move on Tesla. So that's the idea. Now the question is, as you express that trade, did I take any hits on the long around here that are not commensurate with liking the breakout? The first breakout here, 12 didn't work, dip into the prior high, doesn't hold when there was a buyer at 310.5. So took a couple of shots, a little bit of scalping out, but no hit more than 50 to 60 cents on what I think is a gap fill upside of $11. This would be, to me, that's the example of, it's kind of like the physical error. I did everything according to plan, and it just didn't work out, and that's part of the game when it comes to trading. But you have to, then I look at something else, and I'm going to use a missed opportunity here for a second. And I'll go to HIMS. And look, ultimately I made my money on HIMS short today. That is what it is. But what did I not get? HIMS is a high volume name with squeeze potential that was down 10%. So I like an SSR bounce play, and top of the list for an SSR bounce play are names like HIMS when they give you the level. And it was ultimately, look, and this is why I'm calling it a mental error. I zoomed out at the 15-minute and was like, well, look at this wick down to 80. This is like 54.30, and this one here is 54.5. So I'm thinking it's got to be under 55 enough and down into 54. But when I'm thinking about this, this is 100% mental error for the miss of that reversion. What does this candle look like down to 84? The next candle on the 15-minute, and that's the bottom wick candle, is $1.30 higher. The bases are here at 56.6. And then in the aftermarket, it's the same nonsense. Like, it's going $1 to $1.50 when it ticks underneath 55. So to call the level 54 is a mental error. It's just looking at the area in the chart and not really getting the real base and the nuts and bolts of it, which is once it's underneath 56, take whatever reversion you can get. That's the mental error aspect. I wanted the long. Where I was looking for the long, based on the setup that I'm looking for, was wrong. And if I took a little bit of extra time to analyze what was the behavior of the stock underneath 56 bucks, why would I be waiting for 54? It's been bouncing every time massively from 55 and gets to 56 in a hurry. And that's exactly what happened at the open. It goes under 55 for a split second, and then it's right back above 56 and kind of doesn't, it just doesn't let itself go. So just like in athletics, I think a lot of times what will happen is, I'll take small hits on Tesla, but not, it's like, yeah, whatever, no big deal. But I should be beating myself up more for missing HIMS, because the reason that I missed a trade, I can sit there and say, it was 9:30, it's hard to be in a couple of things at once. But I also got the level wrong for an analysis reason, based on setups that I look for. And when you're looking for a reversion, it's not exactly at that level. When I like 64, was it exactly at 64 where it was obvious to get the shorts? Sometimes it does do 64. Other times it might have gone to 64.5 and I'm taking the same mean reversion. But it's that price area and how things behave around it, and I swung and missed. In this case, it was almost like I wasn't at the plate. So when you're analyzing your strategies, if you're just simply, I won on the trade or I lost on the trade, that's not analysis. That's not reviewing your strategy. You should also ask, did you execute your trading plan? Or did you have one in the first place? Because if you didn't have one in the first place and you won, it's really difficult to be consistent over time. And I can tell you, having done this for years, your goal is not to make money today as a trader. Your goal is to make money most days. Your goal is to make money more days than not over the course of a month. Your goal is to make money over the course of a month, more months than not. And the only way that I've ever seen traders do this is have a very good sense of what works for them and do more of it and follow those execution rules and evaluate those execution rules. And I've seen that traders that don't do that tend to have, they'll have a big month, boom, and then a couple of months of nothing. And then another couple of months of nothing, because they're just getting these ebbs and flows, but they're not hammering down that consistency. So know the difference between physical and mental errors. I think it's big in sports. And don't just bench your running back because there was a weird, awkward hit that he happened to fumble on. If he was holding the ball loose like a potato, like Mike Vick would do sometimes, or it's LaShawn McCoy, where it's just he's doing all this, okay, fine, then bench him. But if he's holding it high and tight, and it just happens to be a crazy tackle, why are you benching your star player? They didn't do anything wrong. It was just a lucky hit. Leave him in the game, let him get the touchdown. You stick with your best plays. And it doesn't matter if there was a little bit of a mental error here or there, or physical error here or there. Fumbles. Well, even if, here, and I'll go back. Sharif just said even if it's 2 fumbles, but it matters. Were they loose with the ball? But if they were holding it high and tight, let's say it's a receiver. They caught it. They brought it right in. They were on the right. They had it on the right hand. If they're going in the sideline, they were protecting it. Like they were doing everything right, and it was just an unbelievable tackle and a weird bounce, and it happened twice. Guess what? Bad luck happens. That doesn't necessarily. It's like pulling a pitcher because they get a bunch of weakly hit balls that just dribble in, and the guy's dominating otherwise, but he gives up a few runs because you get a bunch of bloopers. You're going to yank him out of the game and he's your ace? No, you got to understand the concept. And that's the same thing with your trading, everybody. You should be able to look at context, not just did it win, did it lose, did I get it, did I not get it? Why? What was your plan? If you can't describe your plan, then you don't have one. I've rambled enough. Let's go to the midday boys. Go get them, boys.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that. The only thing that I would kind of just only say is I would be careful for the psychology of my player. Like that's the only thing. If he's having a game, I want to kind of preserve the mental for them. It's just like kind of like trading like an idiot. And then so you just kind of walk away to preserve the mental. But yeah, I totally agree. He's your star player. You go with it. You go with it until absolutely.
But how long do you go with it until you realize that it's not working?
That's why I said to Neil, I'm like, I think 2 fumbles. If he's fumbled twice in the game, I don't know. I think to me, when I fumbled, I know what my mental was like immediately. And I know the coach just, Gabriel, what the hell? And then there wasn't what the hell. It was a lot of other stuff that was coming in. It was insane, right? And then you get pulled by the face mask, pushed in the corner, right? Yelled at really aggressively.
I was taking a dig at the Leafs, to be honest with you. I was going to say how long do you go for it until you realize that it's not working, and the answer to that one would be about 9 years.
Oh wow, we just crapped on the Leafs. All right, we got to go to Adair. She's got some for us.
Just keep an eye here on NVDA. Apparently the company, I'm seeing this on X, I'm not seeing this confirmed, but I'm seeing apparently they released a statement saying that NVIDIA GPUs do not and should not have kill switches and backdoors. So basically, I guess addressing concerns from both the Chinese government and the U.S. government about, oh, well, there should be a kill switch in case there's backdoors to China. NVIDIA saying, hey, we should not and do not have either. So we're going to have to wait. Market not really reacting to this. We're already at kind of a previous resistance level, but just keep an eye here on NVDA. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that.
In whose favor? I'm curious to think. In whose favor there for Canelo Crawford? If you think the mental game's going to come into play, I can't wait. That's starting to approach.
You see what Canelo was pushing Terrence on?
No.
Or he was like, what A+ fighter? And yeah, and to be fair, I think the pedigree of fighters that Canelo's fought is a lot higher than T. Crawford.
Absolutely.
And you know I love T. Crawford, bro. I think he's a gifted fighter. Like you see that kind of stuff once in a generation, so to speak, right? Especially with the speed and the accuracy and like his ring generalship. You know, he's not the fastest starter, Joey, but he's gonna be able to dissect you.
He's tough as nails.
Yeah, he is, man.
Yeah, I got Bud on that one there.
You got money on that one.
Yeah,
right?
I got Bud all day, man. I think he beats his bum up, that's for sure. So yeah,
it's gonna be really interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really good
September 13th, baby.
Yeah,
we're still a month and a week deep, bro. Yeah,
a bit away. Some other big UFC fights rolling up in September as well too that I'm looking forward to. But anyways, guys, back into these markets. TQs. Oh, Jose Villa says no way.
Yeah,
you got boy.
There's a lot of Canelo.
There's hey, listen, I love Canelo, but I think this Bud's got it. Anyways, back into the TQs, guys. This has been working out for us pretty nice. off of those lows. Didn't really add into this position, so we'll just dock this up, just adding into today's P&L. Boom, you take that, pop, 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 pop. We take some off there, and now we're sitting on about 20% remaining of our position. See if we can get into these highs, and then we'll leave the last remainder for that dream, and that's going to be that moving towards the volume-weighted average price. I don't know if we're going to get there. There's a key pivot, I think, that's going to have to be breached in order for us to do so. So you can see we have this inverted hammer candle right here. So if we break through that, then I can see, like, hey, yeah, maybe we are going to get some more topside. But this can be a big-time defense. The volume isn't necessarily supporting that. But, again, I just don't like it. It's closed as a genuine hammer. There's no buying pressure whatsoever left in this candle. So you can see that we open up right here. Buyers have the ability to push it up to 86.40. And then, sure enough, sellers start to dominate, and they dominate that 5-minute print right there. So if it breaks through, then I think we will be able to hit that next level. That's going to be 86.80. We'll take a little bit more off, and then at that point, we'll just leave some for the dream. If we do get a pullback in between point A and point B, then we'll add a little bit to the point A and point B, and then see if we can get into that specific target of the volume-weighted average price, which is going to be the primary one for the dream there, Sharif. But I mentioned 86.80 is another target that I have in mind here.
See what your boy Roof Ninja in the chat said. Canelo had some trouble with Berlanga, and I do remember.
Did he?
I don't think he walked through Berlanga, but Berlanga looked a lot better versus Canelo than he did versus what's his name, that guy from India.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
England, the Pakistani guy. What's his name?
I know who you're talking about.
What the hell is it? Hamza.
Hamza. Hamza something.
Hamza Shiraz?
Yeah, Shiraz, maybe.
Shiraz,
yeah,
Hamza, something like that.
Something along those.
I told you that guy impressed
the length
the hell out
is
of
crazy.
me.
It didn't. Berlanga got TKO'd by Canelo, didn't he?
I forget.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got TKO'd by Canelo. So, you know what the fight that I want to see is Berlanga versus Jake Paul. I think that is the fight to make.
Talking about AJ, though.
No,
Isn't he talking about AJ?
Yeah, but Turkish doesn't want that fight.
He doesn't want
no,
that
not
fight?
Turkish. Eddie doesn't.
Oh, Eddie
want that.
Hearn?
Eddie doesn't want that fight. He's like, why would he do that?
Well, AJ already said this is his last year fighting. Isn't that what he said?
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, obviously, it's always, up in the air. You can always come back. But if AJ's going to go out with a bang, you don't want to lose to Jake Paul as your last fight.
No.
Especially if you were heavyweight champion of the world.
I don't think he would. I don't think he would either, man. The guy's got dynamite in his hands. There's no way Jake doesn't go down. That would be so fixed. There's no way. He's never experienced that type of power.
Yeah, I mean, AJ can punch too.
He can punch.
Maybe he can't take a punch anymore because just the body
the thing
gets
is,
weathered.
The thing is with AJ is that he didn't have the Deontay power. It's just that his combos were half decently clean. Maybe I don't know. He could just hit you with a couple punches, and he had that nice uppercut. But obviously, I don't think there's any fight to be had there. It's Berlanga versus Paul is the fight to make.
I gotta agree with you, bro. I mean, I don't know if we see it, but like you said,
you're not seeing it.
Yeah, we'll see. yeah. I mean,
Jake will
I'd
actually
love to
fight.
see it.
I like Jake. He'll fight anybody, to be honest.
Right?
He needs to avenge his loss against Tommy Fury.
But Tommy Fury's an actual fighter.
No, he's not.
Tommy beat him easily, though.
No, that was close.
I think he beat him every round, man. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. All right, savvy Canadian traders looking to boost their exposure can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 and the S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3 times daily leveraged ETFs featuring built-in FX hedging. This aims to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders ready to take on the market. Read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing. Shout out to Beta Pro. All right, guys, so let's update you on the current state of our trades. We're in right now on BTAI. I've weaseled into some shares over here, scalped up a bit, added into what I perceive to be a key area of technical support at 95s. That's what I perceive to be a flat top break. We had a lot of trouble breaking through that level. For the moment, it's holding there. Doesn't mean it holds there forever. So that's what I'm banking on. I'm looking at wetting the beak initially at 7s, and then I've got orders posted there above the 10 penny area. In addition to that, we got back into LRMR after weaseling out. Now, this one is putting in lower highs. Okay, but it also has higher lows. And those higher lows seem to be bouncing off the 10 EMA on the 5, but we do feel, or I do feel, that there is a seller here that we really can't shake at around 15s. I'm talking about $4.15. Here we go. Now we're showing 14s. If we can get a nice little push there to break above 15, maybe we can squeeze into that 20 penny area. 23 pennies is the high of the day, 423. Now we're showing 14s here, unable to see really the amount of size that's expected for us here at 15. And here we are at 15, and we're not taking off any size. So it feels like the hidden order, or the hidden seller, excuse me, iceberg order is really preventing us from ascending here anymore. So we'll see if whether or not we can take out this seller here at 15s and squeeze up a little bit. Let's move back though to BTAI. I am kind of concerned about this one. There's a bunch of lower highs that are aggressively lower than the higher lows that we're putting in. We did find support nicely off that 295, but that doesn't have to hold up forever. So right now we are above the 10 EMA, but I don't know, 317 high. We're showing $3. Let's give this one some room. I've given it to 88. So if it loses 90, I've given it a 2 penny buffer to see whether or not it can hold on to that level. But there goes the seller at 15s on LRMR. He got taken out. So now let's see, it's posted 17s. I think we got up to 18s though momentarily. Are there any 18 prints on the time and sales? The answer to that is no, none that I can see. Highest I can see there is 17. So it looks like it's a 17 area high, with 23 being the HOD. So let's see if we can squeeze up on this one and take out some more levels. Next area I'm posting at 19. Let's go ahead and wait north of 19 as well. We're going to wait at 22s. Let's go at 22s, and then we'll pack our patience there. I was going to say, Joseph, I ride on 22s, but you know that's not the case anymore. That's not the case anymore. So let's tell everybody what's going on.
Tell them.
So guys, you guys know that I did sell my car. I had a Jaguar F-Pace SVR. It's now gone. I've delivered it to the new buyer, so they had paid me. But you know, because the banking system in Canada is so advanced and the money clears so quickly, we had to wait 2 whole weeks until that money cleared and the bank issued.
2 weeks, bro?
Don't get me started, bro. Don't get me started.
What the hell?
It roused me up, Joseph. So, yeah, that's done, and I went and delivered the car on Friday. That was the last time I drove her. So LC is no longer the case. Now we're going to move on into something else. But the thing is,
The Evoque.
we might not be getting a car for a while, Joseph.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
good.
That's the way it is, right? We're
Good thing we have an immaculate transit system that you can.
Such a good transit system in Toronto. It's never late.
No.
It's never packed.
It's always
People are
working.
never disgusting on it.
It works all the time.
It works all the time. It's fantastic. No, thank God for Uber. For real, though. So, yeah. Can't say I ride on 22s anymore.
Uber. I couldn't even see. The thing is, though, man, I have such a hard time sitting in the back of a vehicle. I can't Uber. I'd rather just take the e-bike.
I don't mind, bro. I just go on my phone.
Dude, I get so car sick, dude. It's not
Car
even.
sick?
Yeah, I get so motion sick.
Really,
So
eh?
it's funny. So like so Selena and I were headed to Tulum. I literally rented a car so I could just drive from Cancun to Tulum. So I'm like, so I don't have to sit in the back. I'm like, yeah. But come on, give us this, Phil. Pull up the old screen here. Nimrod. Hey.
He's arrived. Shout out to Nimrod.
All right.
Nimrod, baby.
Nimrod. Sorry, it's been a long journey, but should be with y'all within the next 2 hours. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Shout out to you,
So
there,
tell him.
brother.
So Nimrod is joining us here. He's coming from Israel. He's joining us in Toronto. He's here right now, in fact. And hopefully we'll be able to see him maybe on the show before the big boys come on. If not, then certainly on the closing show there. And if not, then definitely on the market recap, Nimrod. Make sure to get in touch with Brendo, and we'll have you in. And yeah, maybe you can even come on screen. Shout out to you, my man. Can't wait to see.
Yeah, you said it's been a hell of a journey, lots of flight delay and everything. I'm glad that you had the ability to make it. I don't know if it's your first time here, Nimrod, but yeah, I hope you enjoy the city. It's a beautiful, beautiful weather. You got a solid week to come here, other than obviously all the forest fires that have been occurring. I don't know if it's been in the east or the west, but yeah, that was some interesting times, man, when the skies were blanketed red. That was like, whoa, that was some eerie stuff. But anyways, guys, we cut this fill right here. So 1965, the kid, this is just for you, my friend. But this is what we want to get into, right? So we're placing this trade off the base of the lows here. And I just mentioned that we've seen continuous buying pressure within some of these candles. So this is why I decided to go long off of the 5-minute. Hammer 1, hammer 2, inverted 3, selling pressure there, but another additional hammer candle. This is exactly what you want to look for, and then that's why we decided to take this long off of the lows, considering that the market has been selling for the majority of the day. That worked out relatively well for us. Now we're going to hold the rest for the dream. 187, final target.
Joey, you've seen the Trade the Pool here with us for a while now. And now Trade the Pool has created something very special just for you guys. A free ebook featuring 4 proven swing trading strategies from Trade the Pool's top funded traders. Inside, you'll see exactly how they approach the markets, how they manage risk, and what setups they rely on so you can learn and grow from what actually works. Download it for free today by scanning the QR code on screen or hitting the link in the description. We are going to Adair LePage.
Yeah, I just want to remind you guys, we have a ton of big earnings tonight, including SMCI. Now, I've shown this a couple times. SMCI had a wild 2024, so this infographic basically captures the stock's moves in 2024 and along with some of the wild catalysts that it dealt with. So, of course, January 19th of 2024, that is crazy. That's almost 2 years from now, or 2 years ago as of right now. They reached a new all-time high on stronger than expected preliminary Q2 24 earnings, and after that, they just continued to fly. One day it dropped 20% after making a new all-time high above $1,000. It had all of these issues with the Hindenburg short report and then a delayed Form 10K filing. It was both added to and removed from the Nasdaq in the same year. So if you want to relive all of the wild escapades of SMCI in 2024, check this out on X at TTP Research. I just reposted it. And get ready for more earnings-related infographics that I will be reposting, including AMD related. Back to you.
Hey, all right, Stevenson, thank you very much for the $2 super chat, my man. I appreciate that. Sharif, boo, the bank. Yeah, it's exactly how I felt and how I still feel. Eddie, Sharif not driving people in Toronto will feel safer for a few weeks. I drive like a grandma, and the only reason I drive like a grandma is because I have the, well, no longer, I had the insurance app. So I would get 25% savings off my premium. By the way, I was paying, I'll tell you now, $482 a month for my insurance with no tickets, no accidents, nothing. And that's with the 25% discount savings. So trust me when I tell you, I promise you I was not driving aggressively. You have to drive like a grandma, otherwise you're just gonna get rinsed on.
You know what's funny though about that, Sharif? Obviously we're talking about trading. It takes a while for you to realize that you got to follow the rules of the road. Just ask me how I know this.
How do you know?
Well, because in my earlier, in my late teens and my early 20s, I thought that I was above the driving laws, but that wasn't necessarily the case. It turns out they're right, I'm wrong. So yeah, you just don't want to go against those things. And I just passed that message on to all my younger friends, and they're like, "Yeah, Joe, you're definitely right." I'm like, "Yeah, I experienced that." So Adair, what do you got for us?
Keep an eye here in UNH. We finally might have a catalyst for this. I'm just seeing this circulate on X now. Apparently, Warren Buffett or Berkshire Hathaway are rumored to have taken a stake in the company. That does not explain the pop that we had simultaneously with Humana and CNC, both of which are in the same sector as UNH. But either way, apparently Warren Buffett is rumored to have taken a stake in the company. Unclear if that's what made this move, but either way, coming out about an hour after we get this massive unexplained volume pop across the health insurance space. And we sent you back to the guys.
Deleuze is talking smack. ADL, all class at him. He's like, don't listen to him, peeps. The guy can put his foot down. Dude, what are you talking about? When we were together, I was driving like said grandma. Don't mislead the people, man.
That's not what ADL was saying.
That isn't the truth, bro.
So you're driving like a madman, man.
What? That's crazy. I drive like an absolute grandma. Yes, I remember when we were together. I don't know what you're talking about, Adam. That is crazy right there, man. You're misleading the people, man. All right, here's the deal, guys. We're still involved in LRMR. I don't know for how long for this. The volume is really dropping off here. Still holding, ironically, the 10 EMA. We're out of the majority of the position. We were able to scalp nicely there. But if it loses 8s, I'm out on that one. Now, this one, even posing the same similar problem here. BTAI's got an uninterrupted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Now candles in a row with lower highs. I don't know how I feel about this one. It's still well above VWAP. I'm thinking likely I can probably catch a nice little bounce here, maybe in the high 80s, low 90s. I'm just going to pack my patience on this one. We don't have too much involved, so I can allow it to come back against me a little bit. So I'm just going to continue to exercise patience on this one and wait for the bottom, then maybe add aggressively. Just to give you guys an idea what some of the areas of what indicator price these, what prices these indicators are at, excuse me. You got the 20 EMA at 290 and you have VWAP at 280. We're currently showing 290 right now. So let's see if we find a bounce here to 317 high. You got to know though that BTAI's got very kind of wicky candles. Into the highs, you're almost certainly going to get a retracement. And this is kind of why I feel that way. Let me show you exactly what I've been seeing here on the day with BTAI. Look at this area over here, all these topping tail candles, and it continued to do that into the highs as well. Now, you don't necessarily see it as aggressively to the downside. You do see some bottoming tails, but not as aggressive as the high side. So we'll see if this one wants to hold up. 280 is where VWAP is at. 290, 291 is where the 20 EMA is at. P.S. We're wearing the same colored shirt. My man. All right. Shout out to ADL, baby. Yeah, I like Army Green. I don't mind it. All right. What else we got here? Asraf. I don't know how to say your name. OTRK VWAP. Okay, let's look at OTRK. I already removed that from my side chart because it lost the level.
Oh, wow, something's happening in the market here, Sharif. Oh, wow, something's happening in the market here, Sharif. We got a big-time volatility spike right there in the TQs there, brother. Sorry to interrupt you on that one. But you guys seen that displayed. Boom, we get that pop all the way from 86.42 all the way up to 86.70. That's why you got to post up, man. God damn. We got to post up, Joe. But yeah, there it is, guys. A nice move. Some volatility spike. If there's anything coming in, Adara will most definitely tell us.
There is nothing coming in
Nothing coming in just yet?
I just wanted to let you guys know, get rid of the suspense.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Thank you. What's that?
It's funny, so there's no suspense.
Oh, yeah. It was a little lackluster, wasn't it? But anyways, here it is. So, Tony Curry. I know you've mentioned your transition from trading week options to prop trading. Looking to do the same myself. Can you touch on the pros of doing this again? So what I used to do is I used to write a lot of weeklies just for that passive income. By no means will writing weekly options like subsidize for kind of the appreciation of your capital in long stocks is what I'm looking for. Because it's only a fraction of amount. It's good to just add some passive income. It's very difficult and it's very stressful. What I've learned throughout my process of trading options is it's better to go farther dated because we can get a lot into this because as you get closer to expiration, gamma and IV start to pick up in those contracts and you can get out of the money or you can like lose the premium that you've collected relatively quick. The process and the transition is extremely difficult and mentally taxing, but anything you set your mind to, you can do. Just continuously work hard, and every time you get knocked down, just get back up. All right, that's the best words of advice that I can personally give you. But we got some $5 super chats. Hopefully that helped you as well too. Forgot to write in my last super. What do you think about Hood? Is this forming a bear flag? All right, let's take a look at Robinhood, Sharif. If you want to take care of the next one,
absolutely.
I'll tackle this Robinhood here because I don't know why. Maybe someone has some shares of it. Maybe they don't. I don't know. We'll figure that one out here. Yeah. Bear flag. And what time frame? I'm assuming the 5-minute you're talking about because I think I see what you're referring to here. So, yeah, maybe possibly. I mean, you get this leg down and you're starting to consolidate right here. So you do have this little channel on the 5-minute. Can you take that additional leg lower? Absolutely, because to me, this is really toppy price action. And then you can see that we're just holding these levels. And there's no really definitive support system, right? So you can see that this is what we're holding up against right now. But I have no doubt that if the momentum continues to the downside, that those 103 levels can be breached. I loved Robinhood's numbers. I like the report. The growth across the platform is outstanding. It's just maybe, hey, people wanted to deciding to take out some profits. But for me personally, it's a buy the dip scenario and just continuously slowly allocate some Robinhood because I think this name has a lot of room to grow still, Sharif.
All right, man. Shout out to ADL. I'm on a health diet now. Low carbs. Sorry, my bad. Higher protein and healthy fats. What are your goals for the year? No, I'm just giving Joseph a hard time because he was like inhaling the rice when
you
Neil
seen
was
that,
dropping
right?
the lesson of the day. I see this guy back there with the plate. He's like getting it in. So I just teasing him. Shout out to you, Adam, man. I love it. What are my goals for the year, brother? It's the same every year. We want to add about 3 to 4 pounds of lean muscle per year and maintain a low body fat. That's really always been my goal. I want to get to that in a little bit because I do have a philosophy I think will benefit a lot of people if that is your goal, to add lean muscle and maintain, lean shape. I've been doing this for well over 20 years. I think I figured out a lot of these like little tips and tricks. So I'll get to that in a second, but I got to get to this. Shane ED 2335. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat, Shane. I tagged you, Shane, because I wanted you to answer back because I had questions. I'm talking about trade the pool. Okay, I see what you're saying. So you had trouble getting fills on trade the pool. I mean, just reach out to their customer service department, brother. I mean, like, goodness gracious, I can't tell you how many times I've had trouble with the IB. Joseph and I were talking about, the software that we're using with IB, Trader Workstation. You got to have patience for days to get used to this software. It's just part and parcel of the trading game. And I'm sure if you reach out to their tech support department, they can help you out. But thank you for commenting and thank you for the super chat, my friend. I do appreciate that, certainly. I can't speak to it. I've never used Trade the Pool software. I do like Mitch, though. All right, here's the deal. We're still involved in BTAI. I'm looking for this one to clear back above 3, generally holding the 20 exponential on the 5, but yeah, we'll see if this one can start curling back up. Currently, it has a higher low and a higher high on this current 5-minute candle, but it's by no means in the clear. Let's have a look also at LRMR. All right, we continue to hold the 10 EMA, and we've shaken that pesky 15 seller. Let's go ahead here and post that 17, see if we can get that beak wetter in and around there. Okay, so now I'm seeing BTAI back above 3. Can we get a squeeze here? My first order I'm looking at wetting the beak at is 307s, so it'll have to be about 5 pennies higher than where it is right now. So I'm going to keep my eye out on that. What else we got, man? ZEPP continues to go, guys. I don't want to trade it because it's too spready. So I'm going to leave this one alone, but the price action speaks volumes. And this one is continuing to make higher highs and higher lows. And now it is up 35.75% on the day and trading at the highs. Even though the volume has dropped off, 23.64 high. Great look here for ZEPP. We're going to go to Wadera in 1 second, guys, but just keep your eye out on LRMR for that break above 423. That's really what I've been waiting for here, but the volume is dropping down a little bit, Adair.
UNH craziness here. UNH continuing to push to the upside. I still do not have any news on this, but there is an article from Street Insider. They're basically saying that there's some suspect rumors going on around about the company. Those suspect rumors likely are referring to the fact that Warren Buffett, according to, again, completely unsubstantiated rumors I need to clarify, is maybe getting into UNH. I want to clarify these rumors are absolutely unsubstantiated as far as anyone can tell. But because of that, UNH pushing to the upside and some other names in the sector too. I just want to provide an update on this. UNH by far the strongest, though Humana definitely in a bull flag here. If I have any concrete news on United Health or more specific rumors, I'll let you know. The other thing people are circulating right now on UNH is a total meme, and there's no veracity to this either as far as I can tell, but there's an image of, an AI image of Sydney Sweeney in a nurse's outfit, and they're like, oh, she should be used to promote UNH. That also started circulating around when UNH popped, so again, Sydney Sweeney is not collaborating with the company. Berkshire Hathaway, to our knowledge, has not concretely made any announcement here with regards to UNH. But either way, people are getting excited about both these kind of non-events. Back to you.
Get it, Adara.
Get it, Adara.
All right, so here's what I have to say about my philosophy in terms of fitness. So, a lot of people do cardio to burn calories.
Yeah,
That's the purpose of cardio. Obviously, there are other purposes as well, good cardiovascular health, lots of, exactly. There's a lot of benefits of that, but I'll submit to you, a lot of that is attainable through my method. Now, what's my method? So if my goal is a caloric deficit, and that's the only way you lose weight, it's a calories in, calories out analysis, okay? Now, here are the 3 numbers that you need in order to be able to assess how to lose weight. You need your resting metabolic expenditure. That is basically the amount of calories you would burn just by being alive. So if you were just in bed and you didn't move all day in a 24-hour period, how many calories would you burn, would your body need to burn just to keep you alive and to have all your functions maintained? So, you know, your breathing, your digesting, everything, okay? Your circulation. That's what they call resting metabolic expenditure. You can get that number by going on this machine at the gym that gives you a loose figure. You can base it on that. Then, the two other numbers you need, Joey, is your caloric intake and your caloric expenditure. How many calories you eat through food and how many calories you burn by moving, by exercising. So those are the three figures that you need. Now, you need to be in a deficit at the end of the day, week, 5 days, whatever your window is, okay? You need to be in a deficit in order to lose weight. Your body will determine where it loses weight from. Some people will burn fat more readily. Some people will burn burn muscle more readily. It really depends on your genetics. However, if your goal is to burn calories, why would you insist on using cardio as your calorie burning vehicle? Why wouldn't you strength train at 50% capacity, 40% capacity, 60% capacity, get the muscular training benefits, get the cardiovascular benefits because you keep your heart rate up, 140, mid 140s, I would say, maybe even high 130s. I don't typically get into 150s for this specific. For strength training, I get into the 170s sometimes. So if that is your goal, use the time you would have allotted for cardio for lightweight strength training. That way you get the muscular definition, you get the density, and you're not just doing cardio for the sake of burning calories. So if you're doing that, all you're doing is it's like empty calories that you're burning. You're only doing cardio to remove the calories. I want to take those calories that I'm burning
and build muscle.
With them. So my resting metabolic expenditure can increase, and the more you add in mass, the more your resting metabolic expenditure increases. So that's my little philosophy about why I don't touch cardio. You know, rarely will we ever go for runs, this, that, and the other. You understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I get what you're saying for sure. Yeah, I won't disagree with you. Obviously, if it works for you, it works for you, right?
The argument that I get from everybody, oh, your heart, guys, you're doing cardio when you're doing the strength training. It is literally the same thing, except you're just adding a strength training component to it. Your heart rate is still really high. You can maintain that. You can just do really light weight so you don't overload your muscles, you don't overload your central nervous system. Lightweight, but for a prolonged period of time. But just doing this and walking and all that stuff, that's just not for me. It doesn't work for me, and nor do I care for it. So.
No, I agree with you. Just when you talk about high intensity interval training.
Yeah,
right?
that's even different though. That's different. Yeah, I don't do that because you're really going 80%, 90% capacity. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about low capacity, low output strength training. That's what I mean.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That's kind of my little.
Bro, what?
How does race walking factor into the equation? Well, it is what it is, Adair. I mean, it's not for everybody. I don't think you really want to be, like this.
No, yeah, I'm kind of joking, but yeah, because I'm like, that is, I mean, I've talked about this to you and Neil off camera. Like, my morning workouts are a lot of, combination. Like, I'll do a lot of, HIIT type stuff, kind of everything. But yeah, the race walking is. My method of transportation would be a lot of
you smash
cardio.
doubles, do you not?
I do. Yeah, I do. I'm very active throughout the morning.
There you go, man. Love it. And I like that. There, nice, Assassino. I like that. All right, here we got a super chat. You want to have a look at Hood since you're involved in that,
I think
Joey?
we'll go over that one. Hood break quality of your calories matters too.
Pardon me?
I don't know.
Oh, absolutely.
No, but that's what he's saying.
Course.
Oh yeah. It's a hood break. Quality of your calories matter too. They're just
no question about it. Yeah. Thank you for obviously clarifying that. No question.
In there as well.
No question about that.
Yeah. Hood totally broke through the support level right here, guys. This is what we were talking about earlier, right? There's nothing really definitive. I don't think this is a level strong enough in order to hold up that base. If the volume and the momentum decides to pick up and head to the south side, then you can see that we're experiencing that right now. So just keep that in mind. So thank you for pointing that one out, Bayard Noonan. Very much appreciated. What's YouTube up to? They got to fix these names on here. I don't know why that hasn't been fixed yet. But yeah, so there it is. But just keep an eye out on this as well, too, guys. We went over this pattern on multiple occasions, is that when you break through this support level and you have this indecision print at the lows, I might look for a potential rebound here in Robinhood, because, I mean, it's still a strong name, in my opinion, considering the fact that we're starting to pull back a little bit, but we're still not too far off of those all-time highs, so only 8%. That's not too bad whatsoever. Nice indecision print. I think this name is going to continue to climb. It's just such a strong stock right now. You can see all these pullbacks. It's like, it's absolutely insane. You have like a couple red days, but they're nothing substantial whatsoever. And then you see the programs to the buy side step right back in. And sure enough, you're just continuing that northeast trajectory. Now we are kind of basing out and forming this consolidation phase. But anything south of these support levels, for me, it's a potential buy. And the more south you head, you want to buy a little bit more. So Robinhood for the long duration, I really like this name, that's for sure.
Yeah, Zion, I've been talking about ZEPP for a while. It's just not for me. I've had it here on the side chart basically since the show started. It's just too spready. It's got a fantastic looking chart, as I've mentioned multiple times. Into 24 bucks it goes, 23.95 essentially the high of the day. Great call out by you, but just it's not for me. It's too expensive and too spready, so I'm going to steer clear of this one. But yes, we're continuing to keep an eye on BTAI. We did get a nice spike there into 7s. I did wet the beak at 7s. I think it ended up rejecting at 10s, and now it's dropping back down into 3s. So what I'm keeping my eye on here are the higher lows. We're still getting the higher lows. We got shares on in this one as well, so let's see if we can weasel out into a nice little winner there. The next area I'm looking to take profits at are 12s, 312. So we'll pack our patience and keep an eye on that one. Now, let me tell you about the other trade. The part of it we gave back a little bit here, LRMR. This one was feeling very flat top breaky at around 415. I mean, we did wick into 17s. Maybe that should have been my warning that when we broke 15, we weren't really rocketing up and testing the high of the days, but the sellers were coming in the high teens as well. I think that should have been, I should have been more alive to that fact. I wasn't. Anyway, we drop, we lose the 10, we lose the 20. We're still above $4. So what I'm going to keep my eye on here is this exact level there. So that's that $4 level. That's the implied balance high from 940 this morning. It's a key area of technical resistance. We'll see if it ends up being a key area of technical support. We're not far from it, showing 6s right now on the bid. So if it comes back into 4, find support, I'll get involved. Otherwise, I'm not going to get in here because now it is putting lower lows and lower highs. So there's your area high, and there's another area low, and now we're basically right back at the same area we got into initially, right around 405. So I'll keep my eye out on that. Otherwise, I'm really going to try to focus on BTAI, and we'll see if this one can continue to work above that $3 area. Shout out to Zion. Good look there on ZEPP. Oh, super chat, $10. Shout out to Easy Peasy 369. Shout out to my man. Sharif, great explanation on Cal deficit. Told the wife to ditch the treadmill and hit the weights with me. LOL. Sean, thanks for the reversal on TQQs today. I'm going to send him that because he's not here. I'm sure he'll want to hear about that. So I'll take a picture of this and send it to the Katina man. Thank you very much, Easy Peasy 369, for the super chat and the kind comments. Sadiq Satar, what do you think about BLCH IPO? Oh. Let me have a look over here.
Bleach.
So we're getting bleach, yeah, right? It feels like BLCH or SH? Excuse me, SH, not CH. I don't have anything. BLSH. BLSH. Yeah, thank you, Adair. I don't see anything. Sadiq, tag me again. BLSH IPO. BL. Yeah, you wrote it twice, brother. I don't have the ticker, but just give me the name of the company and perhaps we can look into it. Adair's checking as well. Thank you. What else? We got Pug Life. I would, how many people in the chat can do a set of 20 reps of 225 basso? That's my cardio. Well, shout out to Pug Life. Look, brother, no, I really did mean it, man. I mean, if you need to, you know, what's the big deal? You do 95-pound squats. That's really not the point. The point is to get the heart rate up and maintain it there, and also get the muscular training component of it as well. So you kind of, it's like a double whammy. That's what I mean. But I see what your point. I mean, yeah, 225 could be cardio for some people. Not for me, but it could be, depending on really how strong you are. Oh, I know, Neil. Well, for some people, I'm sure out there, maybe it's It's not for me, though. OTRK breaking through. Let's have a look at OTRK. That's the one it lost its spot, Joseph, on the side chart because it lost VWAP. I don't know what you're talking about, Ash. Brother, this is VWAP right here. So this at 49 pennies, that white line, that's the volume weighted average price. We're trading 38, brother. So I don't think your VWAP is accurate or it's breaking through. It's still actually making lower highs, brother. So let me know once this gets above that 49, 50 penny area. If it does, we'll actually absolutely get back. But BLSH, company name is bullish. Adira has something for us on that.
Yeah, so I want to mention, I actually spoke about this during our crypto segment today pretty extensively. Nothing I say here is going to be new based on what I said there, but this IPO is going to be pretty massive. They're seeking a $4.2 billion valuation. Now, it's worth noting here, they're going to be offering apparently 20.3 million shares. Value of that offer, $723.7 million, so pretty significant, not in the billions, but in the high millions there. They're pricing this IPO between $28 and $31. This is just their logo. They're a crypto exchange. Or not their logo, their website. This is their logo in the corner there. But it is worth noting as well, this is the second time in 4 years they've tried to go public, and they're taking a massive valuation hit in this attempt versus their first attempt in 2021. So in 2021, it was seeking a $9 billion valuation. That was going to be basically a SPAC type situation. That fell through. Now they are actually going to be going public via an IPO at a much, much reduced valuation, literally down by more than 50%. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adira.
Yeah,
great look and great information as always.
Thank you very, very much for that, Adira. Great stuff. So yeah, I got all out of this TQ's trade here, guys. So yeah, we took the majority of it out in the last little bit. We just cut it. You can see that we're starting to experience a little bit of a bounce, but we don't complain about this last little bit there. So the majority of it out was on this move here. So that's what we had going on. We'll go over the trades that we've got cooking up here. I know we're running into we need, you know what we need? We need a news thing. The button there, Sharif, that when we go through the news.
Yeah, I was going to tell. Yeah, but that's Chilean Nightmares.
He's working on it.
Got a lot.
He's got a lot going on. Great show, guys.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Paul Thomas.
He's going to do that too. Yeah, good call.
So Paul Thomas, great show, guys. Fly is an IPO on Thursday. What's the early line on it? Pop right away. We'll see. We'll take a look on that one. Fly momentarily. Right after we get after this. Actually, here, we'll see. We'll dig a little bit into that. Sorry, when Sharif does it, I'll take a look at Fly to see what we got going on for Thursday. Boom, boom, boom. So AMD, we enter, hold this, have this as our high, as our stop, and once it starts to work out, we add, and then sure enough, boom, 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 we just take it out there. So that one worked out pretty good for us. And then also we had the likes of IBIT. So yeah, this is the one where we got the most aggressive on the day. Add, and then looking for the continuation in the trend to the top side as the market was moving higher, and then sure enough, boom, we get this clean flush to the downside. So that's that. Small gain on that one, small gain, small potatoes. And then the TQs was our final trade up here. So we grab it off the lows, pop, 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 pop. We take some, we get out here, and then sure enough, now it's starting to rebound and climb a little bit higher. So those are the 3 trades that we put on today, 3 for 3. So not too bad there, Sharif.
All right, man.
To Fly.
All right. Oh, what's going on over there, Katina Man? The Katina Man is 3 for 3. Oh, yeah. Okay. I didn't hear that.
Trade.
Thank you very much for that. All right, guys. Now we're keeping an eye. Bad beer. So Simple Sunshine, I'm like, what is this guy talking about, man? I didn't understand. All right. I don't mean to be short here, LRMR. That's not my intention. So we're going to flatten out break even. That was a result of an uncleaned stop order. So we'll flatten out break even there on LRMR. Did not mean to take that short, by the way. So our only position is going to be the one that we're currently involved in right now on BTAI. Still like the chart pattern on this one with the higher lows and higher highs. What I'm worried about with this one is getting bamboozled with, a specialist breakdown where they stop hunt you. So we'll see exactly what we get with this one. For the most part, it's been respectful of key technical areas. BTAI, about 18.9% in Greensville at the moment. Shout out to Sippo Sunshine. He's like, look what he said, Joey. He's like, opinion on 12-ounce curls. I find they actually get easier as the session progresses, though it does seem to affect balance. I'm like, what?
The 12-ounce curls.
I'm like, 12 ounces. Nobody curling 12 ounces,
He's
right?
going heavy on the
He's going heavy.
on the confidence scans
And
there.
my dumbass doesn't understand the joke, but that's because I don't like beer. All right, guys. Hey, bro, any thoughts on TRT? You're also plugged into the pharmaceutical industry. Look, brother, I mean, that kind of stuff, you're going to have to ask your doctor about. I personally don't really like going after that kind of thing unless it's actually medically needed. We're seeing it a lot at the pharmacy nowadays. A lot of people are coming in with prescriptions for cypionate and that kind of stuff. I'm not a big fan. I think that there are heart issues that you have to deal with. So you need to look into that a little bit more because it's very, very seldomly spoken about within the entire industry, obviously, because it's not a selling point for them. But be careful with TRT, okay? Just trust me on that, bro. I do cardio every morning. I sit up and I get out of bed. It's a good day. Attaboy, Lemon family. That's what we're talking about, baby. As long as you get up. As long as you're not rolling, you're actually sitting up to get, those crunches. Just make sure to do the offset for the erector spinae group as well. So make sure you're like lifting up a little bit. So get it there. Hope you do very well with your life. All right, guys. Now, that's all I've got at the moment. LRMR. The only thing that I'm really thinking about here on LRMR is exactly what we spoke about before, that $4 area. That $4 area was the implied balance high right at 9:30. It comes into 4, rejects, ends up clearing it later in the day at around 11:15, and then comes back right back into that 4. We are at 4 right now, 99 showing on the bid, 4 on the ask. VWAP 5 pennies lower at 395. So I don't think the best days are behind LRMR. It could find a bid here right between that 4 to 395 area. Let's pack our patience and see if that manifests or not. Otherwise, we're going to take it off the side chart if it loses 395. So that's what I'm looking at there, Joey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going to keep my eye on that.
Yeah, good look there. So I was just digging into this Firefly IPO here. So $6 billion valuation amid space investment boom. Also, what else did I see here? So the Texas-based startup aims to raise about $696 million by selling 16.2 million shares priced between $41 and $43. This compares with its prior proposed range of $35 to $39 per share. I don't see a specific date here just yet. I have to read a little bit more, but thank you for pointing that one out. I know you mentioned Thursday, so we'll keep an eye out on that. Actually, this is a thing that we can do as well too, because shout out to Trading Terminal, because this allows us to take a look at the calendar, and I'm pretty sure last time I checked it still had IPOs, and there it is. What do we got going on for IPOs this week? Okay, so we have CTW, and that's all we have right now. Okay, so that's Wednesday. Thursday is Fly, yes, there it is, and then QMSU as well, Quantum Sphere Acquisition Corp on Thursday. Friday is HTLF, so Heartflow, there it is. So here, I'll display it to you guys. Firefly coming up on Thursday, and there's that one. And then what do we got for tomorrow? Nothing tomorrow. Tuesday today we had TCTW, and then Friday we have HTFL. So there it is. Thursday is when that Fly IPO comes out. So that Texas-based aerospace company. Looking forward to seeing what that does. We'll keep an eye out on that, and maybe we'll put on a limit on open there on that one there, Sharif, to see what we got going on. But yeah, guys, for right now, trades, we're just chilling. I think Katina, man, you still short the Qs there, brother? Still short the Qs. So he's doing his, not much. He covered some 86s, so he's just sitting on fractions amount of his original position, but a nice move to the downside. So shout out to that one. He was short TQs. Bang, yeah, so perfect break of the lows there, Katina, man. Excuse me, I was short AMD as well, too. So good look there on that one. And then we got the long off the bounce here in TQQs as well. So that's nothing too bad. Now, before we get into the news, we have a lot of earnings tonight, Sharif. Okay. And with that being said, let's get into some expected moves and correlate what we see on the options chain as well, too, all right? So we're going to pull up our trusty platform over here, and we're just going to go through a lot of the names and just have ranges. And we won't go through all of the options chains. I'll let you guys do your due diligence on that one. But we'll go through a couple of the big ones, like AMD. We'll see what Snapchat is up to, because your boy's on Snap. Shout out to that. And then UPST, maybe we'll take a look at that. Lucid and Rivian, I don't really like. But I know Toast is a Josh Brown favorite. Why do you always do that to me? Hold on, man. I'm getting you so good right now. It's not even funny. It's not even funny.
Well, yeah, it's fantastic, but I was ready for that.
You're ready? All right, you're ready
right?
for that one there. This
All
fly
right,
dog
man.
here. Okay, let's take a look at AMD here.
Bang.
So what do we got? Approximately a 7.7% expected move with 102% at the money IV. So that's nothing. Oh, well, that is something crazy. But we'll also correlate that with the options chain. We're not going to go as I mentioned before, we're not going to do the chain on all of them because that'll take quite some time. And we want to hop into some of this news, talk some HIMS and Palantir. But other than that, so we got a high of around 188.93 and then a low of around 162.01. And what I'm seeing here is that the highest levels of open interest are at, don't do it to me. Come on, you can do it.
You can do it. It's so embarrassing.
It's so
Constantly
embarrassing, man.
It's
Constantly embarrassing. So here it is, guys. This is live, by the way. This is as live as it gets. So 180, 11,400. We already went over that. And if we crawl higher on the on the chain, there's nothing substantial. And that's 10 days away. So I don't know why I can't find this week's expiration cycle. But that's some levels to keep an eye out for. We talked about the pre-market levels rejecting 180 and starting to sell, and then maybe we can get a bounce around. Did we bounce off of 172.5 roughly? So yeah, there it is. You get a little bit of a move there. So that is AMD for that and its expected move. Let's pull up the next in line here, Sharif, SMCI. So I'm just chewing up time here because I know you're gonna. We have a lot of news to go over and everything. So we'll just kind of ramble on. 11.4% with 159. 11.4% expected move, so a high of around 64.54, low of 51.32 with a 159% at the money IV. So keep an eye out on SMCI as well too. That's a nice move. And then OPEM. That's another name here that we want to keep an eye out on. I don't think this one's going to be as, 24% lower price stock with 343%. If you see at the money IV like that, just get out of it. Just forget it even exists because you don't want to be buying options now. You can obviously own shares because the beta is always going to be one, all right? Delta will always be one. That's what delta hedging is all about. It's because when you use shares, you just always have that 1-to-1 ratio. So 349%. See you later, AC Slater. We'll move on to the next one. ANET.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Crazy, scary.
I like it, though.
So ANET, Arista Networks here, guys. We're looking at about an 8.4% expected move, 123% at the money IV with a high of around 128.31 and a low of around 108.34. Okay, so we'll skip ALAB, or do you guys want to do ALAB? We'll do ALAB here. Just because,
do it, baby.
Just because we'll go through some of the big names here. So what do we got here? 13.8% expected move, 199% at the money IV. Once again, 200%. You want to avoid that one. Rivian Millionaire says, let's go, ANET. Okay, I like to see that one. So that was ALAB. We'll go Snapchat, and then we'll do Lucid and Rivian, and take a look at Upstart as well, too. So we'll just roll through this one here as Sharif is preparing. 15.6% move on Snapchat, 214% at the money IV. Stay away from that one via options as well, too. Increase premium. High of around $10.78 with the low of around $7.87. Now, LCID, I know a lot of people love this one, and Rivian. Shout out Rivian Randy. And then, sure enough, 12.9%, 179. Man, wow, the market has really priced in some of these IVs, and the expected moves are a little bit bigger than what I was expecting, to be honest with you, but 12.9% puts you at a high of around $2.74 and a low of around $2.12. And then we'll do one more here, and that's RVIN. Let's see if this even likes RVIN. No, it doesn't. RIVN. Come on, Joseph, get with it, my guy. Rivian Automat. So there it is, 9.5% expected move, 135.7% at the money IV. So not as high as some of the other ones, but that's going to put you at a high of around $13.41 and a low of around $11. One more, we'll do Toast because it's my boy Josh Brown. I'll never forget. So Josh Brown pumped this thing. And then the following earnings report, I played my earnings strategy when I was trading at home, and I caught a nasty 5-minute opening range break on the report. Really, really good stuff. Ever since then, the stock hasn't been too good. 9.8%, 143.7% at the money IV.
All right, Joey. That's a good review there.
Yeah.
Let's start the news item. Let's start with Palantir reporting after the bell yesterday. What a report it was. Let's talk about that revenue number for the first time ever in the company's history. Reporting revenue above $1 billion a quarter. Now we're talking about $4.5 billion yearly run rate, guys. So they beat that 940 estimate expected by the street, with EPS coming also ahead of expectations at 16 pennies, above that 14 penny expected. Revenue surged 48% year over year, well ahead of analyst expectations, and the shares moved markedly after hours, as well as this morning hitting new all-time highs in the process. Net income, so that's their take-home money, soared 144% year over year, up to $327 million. That you can make an assessment on margins just by looking at that bottom line number compared to the top line. That's fantastic margins there. So gross margins usually for software are in the 70 to 80%, with net margins usually being 30 to 50. So this definitely falls within that range. About 32.7% gross margin, or sorry, net margin there. Market cap now exceeds $379 billion. I haven't looked at where it is right now. The valuation is a little bit rich in terms of traditional metrics here, trading at 276 times forward earnings. Only Tesla is higher among 20 peers right there. So very high valuation, but you feel the market is discounting future potential for this bad boy. They also raised their guidance across the board, guys. Full year 2025 guidance now expected to be about 4.14 to 4.15 billion, up from the prior guide of 3.89 to 3.9. That's an easy beat there. Q3 revenue guided as well, 1.083 to 1.087 billion, again, well ahead of the consensus estimate of 983 million. And they also raised their operating income and yearly free cash flow. So it's like check, 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 check. You're checking everywhere there. The market, though, where are their markets? Let's talk about the breakdown. So their U.S. revenue grew 68%, accounting for 733 million of that 1 billion and change. Top line number, with commercial U.S. revenue nearly doubling, 306. So this was very good news to see that their commercial revenue doubled, but their U.S. government segment continues to grow at a little faster. That grew at 53% year over year, now up to $426 million, really bolstered by Donald Trump's cost-cutting initiative, which is actually benefiting Palantir, much to the chagrin of traditional defense makers. Have a look at their charts there. Now, your friend, the haired one there, Alex Karp, called it crazy efficient revolution with a goal of 10xing revenue with with fewer people. He's targeting a headcount of around 3,600 people. So he didn't exactly say layoffs, but he said fewer people. So we'll see how that all works out. Total contract value rose 140% year over year, now up a little higher than $2.25 billion. They closed 66 deals, Joey, over $5 million, including 42 deals that were over $10 million. And we know that they have that $10 billion 10-year U.S. Army contract.
You ready for this?
Go.
I've been cautioned to be a little modest about our bombastic numbers on the call, but honestly, there's no authentic way to be any more but have enormous pride and gratefulness about these extraordinary numbers.
Interesting.
Mr. Alex Karp. No, but in all seriousness, a fantastic growth in this name, Palantir. But I did notice that it's not as popular overseas as it is in the States. So overseas sales were down 3% on the year. Very, very interesting. Yeah. But I think that if this company has ability to gain traction overseas, I think that growth can definitely continue and be sustained for sure.
I agree. Adara, do you feel maybe some of their overseas growth is as a result of national security issues, perhaps not wanting to proliferate the technology beyond the United States? What's your look?
100%. That was the first thing I went to. I would not be concerned about overseas growth. In fact, I'd probably be more concerned if it was growing overseas, because we know, especially this administration, is very USA first, right? America first is literally a phrase that's been thrown around a lot. So if they see a lot of overseas companies or overseas, countries or assets using Palantir, that might be more of a concern to them. If they view it as almost purely, or this is just the Palantir chart, purely or almost purely American, I actually think that's a better look for the company. That is just my take, so who knows? But either way, I do think, I honestly would not see that as a concern for PLTR. I think the fact that this is our first quarter with revenue over $1 billion is massive. Props to them. I think Alex Karp will continue to Alex Karp. And I think, like, again, all the tensions here, the geopolitical tensions that we've had have been viewed as bad for the market, for sure. But I also think they're not a bad look for Palantir because we know, A, the company does get a lot of contracts in the defense space, and B, we know Alex Karp, CEO himself, has said that he wants the Department of Offense. So I actually don't think it's a bad look for PLTR.
What a guy.
As much as these, as you call them, belligerencies, they're very unfortunate for the world and often for the market as well. But I mean, yeah, Palantir right now does not care.
Bang on, Derek.
Okay,
Go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, let me add this point.
Go ahead.
So for me personally, this is how I feel about it.
Okay.
I'm curious how you guys feel about it as well too. But in order for Palantir to continue to grow, don't you feel that they're going to need to expand outside of the United States, or do you think that they have the ability to be sustained? And Alex Karp wanting to be one of the top companies in the world, do you think that he can just do that on this side of the planet and not necessarily have to grow? Because we know with all of the hyperscalers and the Mag 7, they have a broad range of clientele. They have a broad range of users. And so for me personally, I think even though it's down 3%, in order to get to that next level, I think you do need to expand.
I couldn't agree more, but I would say I would focus on commercial segment expansion rather than military.
Okay. Yep.
And we've seen this before, Joseph. I mean, like the F-22, I hate to compare them, but that was banned for exports. Not even Israel could get their hands on that. Nobody in Canada. You can only sell it. You could, I think it was, who was it, Lockheed Martin that makes the F-22, I think. Anyway, they could only sell it to the U.S. So the point was, you know, you can still have profitable segments that are restricted to U.S. sales, but obviously you want to have that international flavor. I couldn't agree more with you, but I think it probably does it more from the commercial. And if they do it militarily, perhaps it's a scaled down version.
Yes,
Case in point. So China has these long-range missiles, but there's a domestic version and an export version. The long-range missile, I'm just giving you any number, 500 kilometers, and then the one they'll export is 250.
Exactly.
So you'll get that kind of variation.
It's the same case in the H20 chip, right? So you want to sell the dumbed down version, but I think in order for this, like, don't get it. What I'm saying is that obviously Palantir is on a fantastic trajectory, but in order to get into that top 10 and to get into that $1 trillion club, I think you need to expand your client base.
All right, Joey, we got a $20 super chat over here from Mike's 376. Joe, can you have a look at Uber as a potential buy before earnings? Also, thank you, Sean. Bought Palantir at 160, expired 9.5 yesterday and sold today for $1,800 profit. Shout out to Mike. Katina, man, giving you the salute there. We're all very happy for you, brother. We hope you print up multiple storms. Joey, tell them what you think about Uber.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we go on to the next story.
Let's pull up Uber here, leading into earnings. I hope you're going shares. Again, let's take a look at this thing from a technical standpoint. I think Uber's in a pretty good position right now. They started turning profits, and you can see this name. I know Sharif's involved with this, Katina Man's involved in this, and some nice moves off of those Liberation Day lows. But anything can happen, right? So leading into earnings, I wouldn't necessarily be looking to buy. Just wait for that report to come out.
Great.
And we've seen some fantastic beats. We've seen some great numbers, and then look what's happened shortly after, right? So again, in the likes of was it Microsoft, the big time move to the top side. Fantastic numbers on the beat on Azure and across the platform. You're getting Copilot mass adoption, continuous intelligent cloud, just continuous growth. You get these massive gaps up, but then you eventually just get back to the price where we originally started at leading into that earnings report. So don't get too antsy, don't get FOMO. There's multiple ways that you can be profitable. I don't know how familiar you are with options as cash secured puts. You can wait for the price to come to you, and you can still make money on the side collecting that premium. So just be cautious. For me personally, not buying anything along those lines, especially what we've been experiencing on these really good beats, and the stocks gap up and then eventually get back the move. So just be patient, and you'll get in where you want to.
All right, guys, let's do a little AMD SMCI since they're reporting after the bell today. Make sure to be with us today after the bell. Adara, myself, and the Katina Man on the Market Recap Show. Let's talk about the market's expecting from our very good friends at Lisa Su and Company. Forecasted revenue for Q2 expecting 7.42 billion with EPS coming in at 14. Q3 estimates a bit more lofty. They're looking for a guide here of $8.33 billion with EPS of $1.15. So a big change quarter over quarter from what the predicted numbers for the quarter they're reporting on today versus what they'll guide for the next quarter. Almost $1 billion increase they're looking here. I don't know if seasonality plays a part in that or why the expectations are so high. Perhaps we'll get more of an explanation from Lisa and company when they get on the call. Susquehanna raised AMD's price target from $135 to $210, citing strong enterprise adoption and solid PC server pull-ins. We know that the PC market starting to pick up again, and AMD's benefiting from that, obviously. Also gaining PC server market share from Intel, kind of aided here by strong product performance and as well as pricing power in that higher CPU space. Their AI strategy was also boosted by the launch of the MI350. That's their kind of H100 comparator, not the GB200, the B200. That B200, the comparator there, is the next chip, the MI400, which they're targeting at 2026 launch for. So they'll be a little bit behind here, NVIDIA, which has already started delivering the Blackwell. So the MI400 is going to be designed for rack-scale AI systems via ZT Systems acquisition, something that they had earlier in the year, and I believe they're up 47%. I'll give you the exact number, 45 2/3% greenery on the year. There's another microchip semiconductor name that's reporting after the bell. You might have heard of it. Super Microcomputer, SMCI, the expected guide here is 44 pennies earnings per share on revenue of 5.91 billion. That would be an 11.3% bump year over year. But here's the deal, Joseph, listen to this. EPS estimates have been revised down 12 times by SMCI in the past 90 days. In the past 3 months, they've revised their earnings per share 12 times. How much in flux are things over at that company? With the revenue outlook also lowered there, Joey.
Yeah.
Full year 2025 guidance now cut down to 21.8 billion to 22.6 billion. That was down from a previous guide of 23.5 billion up to 25. Q3 revenue did rise 19% year over year up to 4.6, but it fell 19% sequentially on customer order delays because they couldn't get their hands on the Blackwell chips. Despite all the margin pressure that we've been seeing, analysts see a high beat potential for their Q4 as a result of AI demand and the global expansion of such. Historically, it's a strong performer, Joseph, beating EPS 88% of the time and the revenue beating 75% of the time in the last 2 years. And the shares, I'll check to see exactly what we are. We're up 90.06% year to date.
Ooh, okay, that's some good stuff. But didn't they have issues with reporting before? Like they were just late to they delayed it. That wasn't good for the stock.
Nope,
SMCI,
not, yeah.
Off of those April lows, guys, we'll take a look around that realm to see what it is. She says 80%, 90% year to date. Well, congratulations, you're up 124%. From those April lows, but nowhere even close to the previous all-time high here. This is kind of like AMD vibes, right? 53%. So to get to where you were before in March of 24, you need 100% return essentially here in SMCI. Can you get there? I mean, the chip space is so hot, and I believe it's going to continuously be hot for the foreseeable future. I mentioned before, until I start to see that CapEx spend on the hyperscalers start to cool off, I'm bullish the semis and I'm bullish AI. How do I get exposure to that? By playing some of these names. So SMCI, not too bad of a look. AMD, and I like that Mitch is like, hey, I believe that this has more potential upside. We know that Lisa Su is releasing the MI400, I believe next year it is, in 2026.
Yep.
So that's going to be fantastic. And we know that the Stargate program is going to have a lot of these AMD chips involved with it. So again, I think there is some good potential upside, but I'm going to go with the king of kings on, sorry, I shouldn't say that, sorry, Sharif. I'm going to go with the king of the semi-space. Right, there we go. We got to correct ourselves on that one. And that's going to be NVDA. I think that what they got going across the Gulf, the H20, even though there's controversy on what's going on there, they want to track it. They want to have the ability to shut it down, whatever. Jensen will find his way around it, and he's going to continue to expand his customer base. It's so fantastic that these Gulf countries are starting to build their AI infrastructure and their data centers because one of the primary beneficiaries is going to be NVDA. And we know that they have deals over the next 5 years, but I do believe that they're going to increase and they're going to realize that they need a lot more to catch up. And I think that NVDA is the play on that one.
All right, Adara, we got a couple of big names here after the bell. Obviously, you're going to be with us as well. What's your look on both these bad boys?
Yeah, I mean, I think with regards to AMD, I just have this infographic here. This is an older one from X at DTV Research. Just kind of showing, I mean, this is Lisa Su's entire tenure at the company. She did join in October 2014. She's been there for over 10 years now. As you can see, revenue generally has grown under her tenure, and the stock made new all-time highs under her tenure as well. So this is just here. The white line is going to be the stock price of AMD at the end of each year. And then, of course, the green bars are going to be revenue growth. So she's done a good job. She was actually named, and this is a bit controversial at the time, she was named CEO of the Year by Time Magazine in 2024, which was notably not like the best time for the stock. It did make new all-time highs, but it closed a little bit lower on the year. So I think we're going to have to wait and see what happens. I think we believe in Lisa Su for a reason. She's clearly done a lot of good for the company. I think that their most recent Advancing AI event a couple months ago, that was a huge turning point for the stock. Like since then, we've really seen that continuous steady growth. So hopefully we don't need another Advancing AI to push this higher, but I think right now it's in a lot of people's good books. Let's hope it stays there. For SMCI, yeah, I think the history of this company is a bit
Hold on, before you go to SMCI, Dara, let me ask you something about AMD.
Yes.
So remember how they had issues building that MI 300 because NVIDIA was like taking all of Taiwan's semis capacity and they couldn't build any Adair, so they couldn't sell any. That's changing next year because that Arizona plant's coming, I think, coming more online, the expansion. So do you think that their volume, especially maybe here, we're kind of not gauging what they could be selling next year? Because realistically, they could have a lot of these, and the market can't seem to get enough AI chips on its hands.
So here's my qualm with the Arizona plant. We know that Donald Trump, president of the U.S., he wants everybody building in the U.S., right? So if everybody switched to Arizona, or we had a lot of people switching to Arizona, then I think we run into the same issues that we have in Taiwan.
That's a good point.
In Arizona. So I actually don't think that's the best solution. I am going to put it wait and see on that, but I think that is a massive qualm that I have. And I actually think the more we have this, America first with regards to production, the more we have that, I think this is going to continue to be a big issue. And I actually wonder how much the administration has thought this out, because I think it is a massive problem. And then not only that, but then also you have companies, and I'll talk about NVIDIA here as well, unable to send their chips abroad because there was that report last week, the Commerce Department hasn't even been processing their applications. So they're not going to be able to build in the U.S. They can't send abroad. I really do not know what the Commerce Department is doing, and not to go on a rant here, but I think that really could be a concern. I think we could start seeing that in upcoming quarters, especially next year.
Good stuff, Adair. Just one more question here on AMD. You can see just on my chart here displayed that we're still down 22.7% off of those all-time highs. Do you think that the MI 400 has the ability to drag AMD to an all-time high and potentially breach it by the end of the year?
The market doesn't always care about fundamental catalysts. You know what I mean? A lot of times it does. It doesn't always. So I think putting the fate of AMD in the hand of one chip is something I'm not comfortable doing, and I don't know if the market is either.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's fair.
All right, guys, just want to bring your attention here. BTAI is taking out levels. We're in at 97. This thing just popped up into the $0.25 right now. So BTAI is on that good stuff. It's higher highs and higher lows. Be on the lookout here. I've posted at 25 and then at 30. So those are the two earnings names in chip world after the bell today. Make sure you're obviously catching that with the Katina Man, myself, and Adara right at 4 o'clock. Let's get to HIMS and hers because it sold off quite aggressively after this report. And there was some good, but there was some bad as well. So EPS beat 17 pennies. The street was looking for 15, so a bottom line beat. Revenue did miss, so that top line number did come in late. They printed $544.8 million. The street wanted $552 million, and then you saw what the shares did after that. Revenue did grow, though. 73% year over year, up from $315 million they printed last year on the quarter, with net income, that take-home money, rising to $42.5 million. Compare that to last year on the quarter when they printed 13.3. Adjusted EBITDA as well, above consensus of 73, coming in at 82. So a mixed kind of current quarter report there with that top line missing. Let's talk about the Q3 outlook. The guide, revenue guided here between 570 to 590. I don't know what the midpoint is, probably 580 because, 570 and 590, the midpoint will be 580. So the midpoint there coming in a little light of consensus. 583 was the analyst expectation. So the guide light on the top number. EBITDA, adjusted EBITDA, that is, for Q3 coming in at 60 to 70 million, again, well below what the street was estimating there of 77.1. Some people saying it's margin compression and growth investments that are really the result of this as they throw money back into the company to grow it. Now, there's issues with what they're doing. There's a GLP controversy brewing here between them, HIMS and HERS, and the actual producing companies, specifically Novo Nordisk in this case. So there's ongoing criticism over the continued sales of their compounded GLP-1s. Compounded GLP-1s means they're making these things on site in the pharmacy. And they're doing so despite the fact that the FDA had says the shortages are now resolved. They were allowed to compound these because there were shortages, there was back orders. So usually there's a special provision for that. That's no longer the case. And, you know, for their part, Novo Nordisk is basically saying that they're unapproved knockoff versions. HIMS and HERS responds back and says, well, look, we're using this clinical exception because your formulation is causing allergies in some of our patients. So we're kind of remixing this so to avoid some of the allergens you're putting in there. That's their excuse. Novo Nordisk doesn't buy it. For their part, Novo Nordisk obviously dropped 30%. Sorry, HIMS and HERS dropped 30% after Novo Nordisk ended their partnership in June, citing the illegal compounding practices I just mentioned. And Novo accuses HIMS and HERS of mass selling, Joseph, under false pretenses of personalization. They're not buying this allergy thing.
I mean, listen, we'll go over some things right now, but with HIMS and HERS, just take a look at the stock from this time last year. It's up quite a bit. It's up really, really nice, all right? So we'll go over some other things here, but this is some things from a growth standpoint that you want to see in a nice, strong company. We'll go over that moment. 268%. Okay. So that's a nice move. Novo Nordisk, it's unfortunate that fell through. But here we go. Let's take a look at some of these here. So these are the previous 4 quarters. We have, come on, you can do it. There we go. We have a beat. From September of 2024, it's come across the board that they beat on EPS every single time. And then sure enough, look at this here. HIMS and HERS customer growth. This is exactly what I want to see. So you go from, in 2020, you have now over 300 million, or 3 million customers. So that's continuous growth. This is exactly what you want to see. Continuously allocating customers and growing in that space. So that's something positive here in HIMS and HERS. We like seeing that. I like this even more, Sharif. That's going to be the quarterly revenue. Okay, so you do see a little bit of a fall off in Q1 of 2025, but from 2020, a nice steady slope to $700 million roughly, a little bit in between that in quarterly revenue. So that's a nice consistent growth. I think that they will have the ability to stay on this trajectory. It's unfortunate that the Novo Nordisk deal did fall through. They're not working with them anymore. But I think, as you mentioned before, every other fill is coming out GLP-1, Ozempic, whatever it may
Ridiculous,
be.
bro.
I think with the hair loss, obviously these weight loss drugs and other products that they sell, I think they're in the right path for sure.
Adira,
telehealth.
Let me put this to you. So remember we heard Amazon wanted to compete with HIMS and HERS by having like their own sort of subscription program there. That hasn't been talked about lately.
We're going to have to wait and see what happens there, but I think if they do, it's probably not a good look for HIMS and HERS Health. We know the CEO, Andrew Dudum, came out really aggressively when Novo Nordisk canceled the partnership. He said, oh, they're misleading the public. They wanted us to recommend Novo's drugs always, regardless of whether it was best for the patient. I mean, like, regardless whether those allegations are true, when that partnership was announced, we had tons of analysts downgrade because they were saying that apparently some of Novo's competitors, and I need to look into the veracity of this, but according to these analysts, the competitors of Novo are actually still maintaining relationships with, not competitors of Novo, competitors of HIMS and HERS are maintaining relationships with Novo and Lilly. So yeah, it's a pretty bad look if one of the things that you got, like, famous and, you know, benefited from these weight loss drugs, now one of the biggest companies doing it is like, hey, we don't want to work with you because we think you're essentially being dishonest. I think it's kind of a bad look for HIMS and HERS. So I don't know. I have Lilly up here because I think, this is Lilly and Novo are really who HIMS and HERS needs to work with. We had Lilly denying that they're in a partnership with the company. Novo ended theirs. So HIMS and HERS is, I would say, for better or worse, it's a meme stock. Right now, I think that's probably for worse when it comes to the company's reputation.
That's an interesting look. I happen to agree, man. I think they're in a bit of a tight spot because, number one, they've got a huge competitor, possibly in Amazon, and they've aggravated the people that they're buying the actual drug supply from. So unless they're going to be able to get some generic provisions, which they won't, it's going to be an interesting look for them.
I don't know if I'm going to go. I get it has a meme aspect, but there's actually growth behind the company as well, too.
No question about it.
So I don't know.
Nobody's denying that.
Like GameStop is meme to me, right? Obviously, that company's not growing. It's starting to do. It's trading cards. It's putting Bitcoin on its balance sheet. The company's not growing. For me personally, there's actually growth behind this company, so I don't mind it as much. Are the valuations slightly high? Sure enough, but you can see it displayed right here that the customer base is growing and the revenue is growing. So
fair, man.
as for Mimi, it can be a little bit, yeah.
All right, let's talk about Tesla. So yeah, one of I want to say, kind of a mixed bag in Mag 7 world today. Tesla's down about 0.5%, not a bad look. They did have bad numbers though, again, you know, from Europe. Let's talk about it. Tesla's UK July sales dropped, oh my God, 59.91, so 60% year over year. They sold 987 cars. Last year, they sold about 2,500 cars in the same month. It's just, it's a tough look, man, but that's the way it is.
BYD.
Right? All right, so the market share in the UK, Joseph, dropped down to 0.7%, down from over 2% last year on the quarter. And year to date, Tesla holds about a 2% share with about 23,708 units sold. I'm talking about in the United Kingdom, which is a 7% year over year decline. Let's talk about BYD, since you brought them up, Joey. BYD delivers massive growth in the UK. They sold, Katina Man, almost 3,200 cars in the UK, 3,184. That's in July alone. That's up from the 782 they sold last year. That's a 314% year-over-year increase. And year-to-date, UK sales are at about 22,574. That's the amount of cars BYD has sold year-to-date in the United Kingdom, capturing about 1.91% of the market. And BYD's UK growth, Joseph, year-over-year, you want that number? 514%, up from just 30, almost less than 3,700 cars last year. I know Assassino, you've known this company for a long time because they've been in Brazil for a hot minute. And Assassino, which is Andre, has been telling me about this car company for a while now. And now we're starting to see them in Western countries. Now, you're likely not going to see them in Canada or the United States because there's 100% tariffs on these Chinese EVs. I'll submit to you, it's out of fear as opposed to anything else, but that's just my opinion. Let's talk a little bit more about some headwind here, Joseph. More from Europe. Declining sales are not just in the United Kingdom. You're seeing it in Sweden, Denmark, France, and then UK to add to the woes. Tesla halted as well. New Model S and Model X orders in several of these regions because there's no demand. They say demand concerns. That to me means people aren't buying it. As well as the robotaxi issue here, nothing to do with Europe. Obviously, when we talk about robotaxi, it's still not out there. But apparently, I don't know if you knew this, Adira, they lack authorization from California to launch their robotaxi, despite obviously being active in the San Francisco Bay Area right now. So tough. You are aware of that, okay? So yeah, tough look there all around, Joey.
Yeah.
Before we go to Adira.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Sharif, California registrations on Tesla down 21% year over year.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I mean, come on, this guy's opening up a restaurant there. I don't know. Again, he's just like the car space, and I mentioned this before. The car industry is a tough one to be, and then now you're having these cheaper alternatives in the likes of some of these Chinese EVs stepping into the UK at significantly cheaper prices. They're gonna chew up some of Tesla's market share, and we're seeing that fully on display. And I don't even know, that's triple-digit units being sold. That is embarrassing. It sucks. But it's a tough space, man.
I know, man, but like you can't say that their demand is down for EVs because look what BYD is doing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But it's just a rotation. We use that. We can use the example of Coinbase. Like, okay, Coinbase is a fantastic company, but you're starting to see a rotation into the likes of Robinhood and SoFi. Is this what we're seeing here in Tesla? Okay, so yeah, they're losing share, but they're losing it to BYD because they're just growing at a substantial pace, which is insane.
Adira, your look.
Yeah, my look is, so I actually looked this up again just as we were talking about it. So guys, not only, and I knew that California had come out and said, hey guys, Tesla has not been approved, but apparently this came out the other day. There's actually emails between, I guess, Tesla's policy advisor requesting clarification from the California DMV on permit requirements. So apparently Elon Musk has been painting this picture like California's denying us permits. Apparently the emails, like his guy and the policy advisory team is just apparently really meek and like not super forward. It seems like Tesla's the one that hasn't done the work and not the other way around, which is kind of a bad look and also put some things into question, right? That we've been told from the company they're being denied regulation or regulatory approval. Sounds like they would be allowed regulatory approval had they been applying. Because
had they been what?
Had they actually been applying for it. That seems to be the issue, right? So, or at the very least, they kind of, they haven't even allowed that to happen. So I think it's kind of a weird look for Tesla, I'll put it that way. I want to see how that all unfolds. But yeah, the other place where it's doing really well, to speak to Europe, Norway. Norwegians love Tesla. We've talked about this quite a lot. Norway loves EVs as well. Already here, 97.2% of all new passenger car registrations in Norway are BEVs.
EVs, yeah.
Tesla, apparently, once again, Tesla Model Y, the best-selling vehicle in Norway for July. So they're doing well in one place at the very least.
Which is interesting because I think generally, aside from Sweden, Adara, he's doing okay in Scandinavia, is he not?
Yeah, I think so. I think Sweden, though, it's a pretty bad one. I think Denmark as well, he's having issues. So Denmark, I think it's kind of iffy whether they're Scandinavia. But regardless, like Norway at the very least has just been killing it. And it's worth noting, like, we talk about these percentages, the actual number of vehicles is not huge. Like there were 715 Tesla Model Ys registered, which seems like not a lot, but it's proportionate to what you're getting, right? So it makes sense. Yeah.
Thank you, Adara. All right, let's go on to the next.
One last thing here. So one last thing.
Yep.
What is it? So we want to talk meme stocks. We know that Tesla has the ability to be so.
Sure.
What gets it out of this current trend, and what does Tesla and Elon and company need to do in order for this stock to make a new all-time high? Because we're not going to see it from the EV numbers.
You asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking both of you guys. What do you think we need to see from
we
here?
definitely need to see robo-taxi. We need to see the Model 2. It's nothing you haven't heard.
Yep,
And we
same
definitely
stuff.
need to see, Optimus, which is likely going to be a higher margin product. I don't think Optimus is a needle moving.
No.
But I definitely want to see robo-taxi. I also want to see what they do with FSD when they license it to some other car makers. We know Ford's fighting for its life. Stellantis has been fighting for their life.
Yep.
So maybe if they get some FSD, it helps them move the needle a little bit. I want to see how he explores licensing of that product.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that front. FSD is definitely the thing. That's the forward look, I think, in Tesla.
I just want to mention this. Guys, BTAI is absolutely exploding to the high side here. It's at the day's high, 345. It's coming into that 50 penny area. Be on the lookout for some resistance at around that 50 penny area. I've only got one Beakwater left, so we're going to hold this piece for the dream and see where it ends up going. But BTAI, very interesting. Keep your eye out on that one. Let's talk a little Coinbase, though, Joey, because they're raising some money. I'm assuming they thought, they were going to raise money after a fantastic earnings report, but didn't end up that way. But let's talk exactly about what's happening. So they're unveiling a $2 billion convertible senior note offering. The raise includes two components here, guys. So $1 billion of that $2 billion is going to be due in 2029. The other $1 billion is going to be due in 2032. Plus, there's going to be $150 million, what they're calling a green shoe option for each tranche. I don't know what green shoe means, but I'm sure you guys can definitely look that up. The notes are senior, unsecured. Interest on them is paid semi-annually, and they're convertible into cash, stock, or both at the company's discretion. They're also employing what's called a capped call strategy to limit dilution. So here's what they're doing. They're initiating a capped call transactions to offset dilution from note conversion. So the transactions are designed to protect equity holders and reduce share issuance risk. So a portion of the proceeds will actually fund the capped calls, a move often seen as shareholder friendly. So if you're holding Coinbase and you're worried about the raising, maybe worry less a little here. And the use of funds, Joey. So what are they going to use the funds for? What are they going to use the funds for? They're going to use it to support working capital, CapEx, investments, acquisitions, as well as debt repurchases. So I don't know. This was always a euphemism for me, is like we're adding Bitcoin to the balance sheet, but I think, this one's a little on the nose.
Yeah, I mean, so here it is. A green shoe option is a financial mechanism used during an initial public offering that allows underwriters to sell more shares originally planned. So there you go. You have that offering there. Typically up to 15% extra if demand is strong. Underwriters initially agreed to sell a fixed number of shares. If investors' demand exceed expectations, they can exercise the green shoe option to sell additional shares. This helps stabilize the stock price at the IPO by increasing supply and reducing volatility, all right? So new traders, listen up. First month, free. That's right. We're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform, it's everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict with backtesting, reliable real-time data. Global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading?
No.
Scan the QR code or check the link in the description.
My bad.
Coinbase, it's all good, brother. Coinbase, see, I think you start grabbing this, right? For me personally, I think you have the ability to do so. You just continue.
Not worried about that gap down, Joey?
Well, of course you want to wear it. Of course. But see, that's the thing, though, Sharif. As an experienced trader, when everybody's worrisome, isn't that when you're supposed to start slowly buying some if you do have the capital?
That's fair.
In, right? So blood in the streets is when you want to buy. I think we have a lot of examples of when that's been the case. Tariff turmoil.
Oh.
You slowly start allocating off of those lows. You're down 20%. Well, guess what? Start dabbling your money into see what you're going in. Some of these strong names. I think we're going to see some continuous growth within, even though transactions were down 32%, 32 and a quarter to be exact. I think if you run into some support levels, you see some more indecision, you might get a bounce. And I think for the long term, Coinbase is going to be just fine.
I like it. Adira, give us your take on this $2 billion offering. Is it just noise, or is there anything to this story?
I mean, I don't think it's a great look for, as you said, a company that had a pretty rough earnings report to then come out and be like, hey, guess what? We have an offering. And I think, too, we talked about that bullish IPO. That is the name of the company, BLSH. That's going to be coming to market next Wednesday. That's a crypto exchange as well. Like, we've had a lot of these crypto plays that are coming to market lately. Of course, eToro, Webull, Circle. Yep. I could go on and on. And I think other than the fact that Coinbase quite literally financially benefited from the Circle IPO, and we talked about how that was basically the only reason they were profitable, other than that, I don't really know what Circle stands to gain from these IPOs of these, these crypto-related companies, right? So all of that's to say, I think in general, this is just an additional piece of brick here into a story that's building that is not really good for Coinbase. Like, I was seeing a price target on this yesterday, 248. Honestly, that sounds about right. Like, we're holding 300 really well today. We briefly broke below it, then bounced again. But yeah, I think fundamentally it looks bad. Technically it looks bad. And I'm sorry to keep playing the devil's advocate in all these names, guys, but I do like to look at things at a bit of a different perspective. And I think right now, unless it can beautifully hold 300, I don't really know for COIN. I think the fact they're now introducing an offering maybe puts it in the league of crypto stocks it doesn't necessarily want to be a part of. You know,
personally, I just think it's okay if the money is going to be spent in an accretive way. Yeah. So if they're going to be looking to acquire more customers, expand their offerings, I want to see some sort of TAM expansion, total addressable market. Otherwise, to me, it's just, you're playing with shareholder money.
That's fair.
So I completely agree with what you said.
So to add to your TAM expansion, so what happens when everything becomes tokenized? Do you think that Coinbase can have the ability to get into trading equities as well too within stocks? I think that's why I think Coinbase is going to be just fine in the long run, because they most definitely will push. They most definitely will push for that if everything becomes when everything becomes tokenized.
Well said, Joey. All right, let's go on to the next one over here. Fitch downgrading Intel amid what it calls weak credit metrics and competitive pressures. So Fitch Ratings downgraded Intel long-term issuer default and senior unsecured ratings from BBB down to BBB, down from BBB plus, guys, with negative outlook. The downgrade reflects what they're calling worsening demand, weaker than expected profitability, and macroeconomic headwinds, which is limiting their growth, according to Fitch. Fitch cited weak credit metrics and noted Intel must improve their product roadmap execution and reduce... I'm going to lose it. Reduce net. I'm gonna have to message, but can you tell Brendo to tell them to keep it down? To reduce net debt level down to 12 to 24 months and regain leverage alignment. Intel shift towards like the demand-linked foundry model. Oh boy. Okay. All right. Take over for a second since I've got a message.
Yeah.
Take over for a second.
Yeah, I got you. Hold on, I'm gonna pull this up here. So here it is, guys. So, okay, so you went over some things, some competitive landscape tightenings. Intel is facing heightened competition from NXP, Broadcom, AVGO, AMD, and others. Fitch highlighted these peers despite weaker market positions, having stronger balance sheets and more stable financial structure. All right, so here it is. We'll take a look at this one. And then here we go. Liquidity profile still on hold. Despite the downgrade, Intel maintains a solid liquidity cushion, including $21.2 billion in cash equivalents, and short-term investments as of June 28. An unknown $7 billion credit revolver and an additional $5 billion revolver due to January 20 of 26. Now watch this implications. Investors should monitor potential capital allocation changes or cost cutting to support credit health. Intel may remain under pressure until execution visibility improves and leverage metrics align with investment grade standards. Competitor strength TSMC, AMD, Broadcom, and macro demand signals are key to sentiment and valuation re-ratings.
Yeah, good call there, Joey. All right. So I don't think Adara is there. Is she there?
She's not here right now. No.
Yeah. So here's the deal. So despite the downgrade, though, obviously Intel maintains that solid liquidity cushion they've been talking about. They've got about 20. Did you cover this part?
Yeah, I did everything. Yeah. So we went over that. There.
All right. So let's just move on to the next one here. Lemonade pops on Q2B. What's Lemonade up to at the moment? Let's find out. LMND. Where are we at? We're up 30%, almost 30%, 29 and a quarter percent. So this one surged only 9.3% in the pre-market. So there you go. It was really an after the bell kind of situation there, beating consensus both on the top and bottom line, with Q2 revenue coming in at $164.1 million, topping that $160.8 expected by the street. That was up, guys, from $122 million they printed year over year last quarter, with GAAP EPS coming in negative, obviously, 60 pennies. They're still losing money, but that was better than the minus 80 pennies that the street was expecting, and certainly improved from Q2 when they lost about 81 pennies per share. So good improvement there. Now let's talk about their 2021 full year. They raised their 2021 revenue guidance from between 710 to 716 million. The prior guide there was a lot lower, 661 to 663 was the guide. Their in-force premium guidance lifted up here from 1.036 billion up to 1.039, again up from the 1.2 that they had last quarter. Now let's talk about what they're doing in Europe and their growth drivers. They highlighted their car in Europe as two high growth segments. Their telematics features led to about a 60% increase in conversion rates versus that Q4 baseline that we had as a comparator, a comp. And car insurance grew 25% quarter over quarter, improving market efficiency. The customer metrics and their profitability here there's nothing really bad to say. Customer count grew 24% year over year. Premium paid users grew up to about $402. That's the average cost. And the net loss ratio improved down to 69%, down from 82, Joey.
Ooh, Lemonade. All right. I mean, big time gap up on the daily here, guys. So that's why we're experiencing a nice move from 41 to a high of around 49. So that's 20% move in one day. So that's something positive. Other than that, we don't trade this too much from an intraday standpoint. There was liquidity in the early 15 minutes, but you can see it really start to dry off. And then sure enough, you just get this sideways price action and a lot of it. So choppy stuff, not something an everyday trader that we usually move, but a nice bull flag pattern forming on the intraday chart right there, Sharif. So,
Adara, what's your look on Lemonade?
Sorry. Hi, yeah, I think the fact that this has held up so well on earnings day one is really impressive, because we know that very few of these earnings day one plays have actually held those gaps. I think the numbers in general are certainly of interest. Like, customer count growth is always good. Improving your net loss ratio is solid. When I looked through this report, I didn't see anything negative, and I think the market's seeing it that way as well. Like, as Joe said, it's not necessarily one that we see a lot of intraday trading on, though I know Neil has, I believe, intraday traded this one before, perhaps. I believe there's a decent decent short float on this name too. So like, there's certainly the retail attention. Yeah, I don't know if when life gives you lemons, maybe you put your money into lemonade. I'm not quite sure, but if you did today, then you do really well. It was just a hard trade to get into even. Yeah, so short float here, 30.3%. So certainly significant. It's part of the Russell 2000, $4.5 billion market cap. Yeah, I mean, I think...
It's a pretty long.
And not to make another pun, but I think we could squeeze here if we break out of this bull flag, and that could either be today or tomorrow. So this actually might be a name I would watch going forward as well. With that in mind, some of these other insurance names had a good move today too. UNH and HUM, CNC, these are the health insurers. But either way, it was, interestingly enough, a pretty good day for insurance no matter where you looked. Yeah.
Yeah, so something interesting here, I was just looking up on Lemonade, and I don't know if this is necessarily the float, but the demand here is really interesting. There's something around 40% now. I don't know where that went, so thanks for doing that. It's so embarrassing. We were just
I'm not
looking
seeing
at
a different number, Joey. Trade Ideas has 30.5%.
So for roughly
you're
around
not
40%,
yeah,
right? So
you're
around a 40% short float, and that can explain a lot in this squeeze here. What I did, just to reference something, Sharif, is I pulled up the Robinhood.
Okay.
I'll show you. It was only around 1%, just a little bit under that. So I think that's somewhat accurate. So 40% short float here, potentially in Lemonade.
That's a good look there, Joey. Good squeeze potential. Let's talk about Figma. There's not much to talk about. I just want to give you some dates and some numbers so that if you're invested in the name or if you're looking at trading the name, you have some data here. So let's start with the IPO market and the strength of the IPO market. We've had over 200 IPOs so far year to date in 2025. Compare that to 2024 when it was very, very silent. So you love, that intensified move for these IPOs, but it's also intensified the FOMO as people have seen what CoreWeave did. Newsmax, Webull, obviously Figma, Circle. So the FOMO is getting there. July was the hottest, obviously, IPO month year to date so far. We'll have to see if August or any of the other months remaining can top it. Time will tell. But here's the specifics with respect to Figma. Listen to this, Joey. 4.2 million shares only are tradable out of the 410 that actually exist, with the rest actually locked up for 6 months, which is the IPO lockup period. The volatility will remain high as a result until the insiders can sell some of their shares, and what analysts are predicting is a secondary offering likely coming. Figma trades, at least it did, I don't know where it's at right now, at 133 times forward PS ratio, making it pricier than Snowflake and even NVIDIA. And despite the hype, stock's down about 18%, at least it was at the time of the writing of this article, from the highs already, a sign of, what could be fragile sentiment. I mean, I hate to make that statement because the IPO market's so hot, but who knows?
It's extremely hot. So there you go. So only 4 million shares were actually tradable. So the float rotation that we experienced on Figma can play a big part on that move from $84 to $150, because there's only so many times that those shares can change hands. And then sure enough, if someone's continuously offering higher and higher and higher, that's when you see these insane squeezes that we experienced here in Figma. So that float rotation must have been absurd.
It was ridiculous. Probably, I don't know, 100 times float rotation. That's one day.
Easily.
I have no idea. Dara, give us your take on Figma right here, because this has been interesting to say the least.
So my take on Figma is we're really respecting that IPO open price of $85. $85 was the low of the day, and I was actually in the Figma short when it got to that 85, and we bounced at like 85.06, right? So I think it's pretty impressive. I would keep an eye here on that $85 level, but Sharif, I think if we break 85, oh boy. I think we quadunk to you. I'm just using everybody's phrases today. But I think that'll be like a really good level. Like I only took out a quarter of my position at 85 because I was like, maybe we'll break lower. Right now, it does not want to. So I think you're right. I think people are FOMOing in. But I think what's interesting, too, is even with all of this hype, in this case, with all this decline, yesterday, it respected that 93 level, which was the open after the first halt, or I guess where it halted the first time, 93. Yesterday, we respected the halt level. Today, we're respecting the IPO level. So it does show, even in all of its kerfuffle and craziness, it is showing some respect for previous levels, and that, I think, is significant, guys.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Adara. Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you, Adara. Not that I wasn't listening, but there's a lot of noise back there, so it's really hard to be able to hear what you said. I'm sorry about that. All right, guys, let's go on to the next story over here. Pfizer reporting earnings today. I don't want to say anything bad about the company, but yeah, Interesting look, 78 pennies is what they printed in EPS, 58 expected, so a 20 penny beat there. A strong beat, in fact, 34% beat on revenue of $14 and 2/3 billion ahead of that 13.56, so a $1 billion beat on that top line. Not bad, and up 10% year over year, easily exceeding analyst forecasts. Their net income, Joey, came a little lighter than $3 billion, but that's good take-home money right there, about 51 pennies per share. And look at this, guys. They printed $41 million in profit last year. They almost printed a $3 billion spot right there. So that's a marked improvement, showing major post-COVID recovery in terms of profitability. Let's talk about their full-year guide. They raised their full-year adjusted profit outlook now, earnings per share, that is, between $2.90 to $3.10, up from $2.80 to $3, their earlier guide. They maintained their full-year 2025 revenue forecast between $61 to $64 billion, again, signaling stronger long-term growth progress. And their forecast includes a $1.35 billion one-time charge that's related to a deal with the Chinese firm 3S Bio. It's going to be recorded in Q3, though, so it won't be readily apparent on their balance sheet at the moment. Now let's talk about their COVID products. I hate to talk about this. I don't know how to Comirnaty COVID vaccine brought in about $381 million. Paxlovid, which is antiviral, brought in about $427 million. And what they're saying is they see COVID sales rebounding due to better international contracts as well as price hikes. So it looks like they're increasing prices there. They do have other drugs that are starting to pick up steam here. They noted that revenue drivers included Vyndaqel family of heart drugs. Management did note strong performance across the broader mix of treatments, but there is cost-cutting pressures here. Pfizer reiterated it's on track actually to deliver about $7.7 billion in cost savings. So I shouldn't say cost pressures, cost savings. That's going to be achieved, according to the company, by 2027 across 2 different restructuring plans. But there are political risks. We saw what Donald Trump said today on his Squawk Box interview that likely we're expecting tariffs on pharmaceuticals maybe this week, maybe next. He calls for lower drug prices and tariffs on imported pharmaceuticals. That remains a headwind. And Pfizer's outlook says they already factor in current tariffs, but not any new sector-specific tariffs. Again, that could be what Donald was referring to today. So we'll have to see how that all works out, Joey, but not a bad report.
Yeah, good report. Obviously, you've seen those numbers here. But from a technical standpoint, Pfizer, really tough space. Obviously, it peaked up in COVID and hasn't had the ability to recover. We'll go off of the April lows as we do with a lot of these names. And it's just pennies on the dollar, essentially. For me personally, Pfizer and Moderna, I'm past the trading stage of some of these names. Why aren't you working? That's fantastic. Anyways, I was just trying to get a percentage metric from you guys on what we are off those lows. But for me, Pfizer is going to need a lot more under its belt to continue to climb higher. And if you just want to talk about being a repeat offender, Donald Trump's thinking about increasing the tariffs. What do you say, 125% by the end of this year, 250% preceding that the following year. So, I mean, it's not going to be too good of a look in some of these biopharma names. So for me, Pfizer is just a name that I wouldn't be paying too much attention.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, Joey, just from my perspective, the product pipeline is
it's narrow, right?
Yeah, it's not great. Like, I mean, this company was all the rage.
It's like they get to go through all these trials, and then what happens when one of the trials or the phases doesn't go as planned? It's like all that was priced in gets baked out if they can't proceed with some of the medicine.
Adara. This company's had 3 canceled GLP-1 phase 1 or 2 studies. That's not the look.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty bad, but they have something else, that's very different from Lilly, very successful with GLP, but they have something in common with Lilly, which is the fact that both, well, also Regeneron here, Pfizer, Regeneron, Eli Lilly, they were the only tariff letters that were addressed to the CEO's first name. I have this hilarious image up once again. Donald Trump, for these 3 companies, so Lilly, Pfizer, and Regeneron, crossed out the last name of the CEO in the letter and replaced it with their first name, which I'm guessing he wrote in his own hand with his very chunky Sharpie marker. So what this means here is that he's trying to curate a more personal relationship with these CEOs, and we have more evidence to support that. A, Pfizer and Lilly CEOs at the very least were visiting Trump at Mar-a-Lago prior to his inauguration. And number two, we actually had this morning on the earnings call, CEO Albert Bourla saying, hey, I actually spoke to Trump after we got this letter. So he's in active communication with the president. I actually think a lot of these other companies are going to continue to have these tariff concerns. I'm not saying that Pfizer is at all immune, pun kind of intended, from these tariffs, but I do think the fact that their CEO has a relationship with Trump and has been meeting with him frequently, I actually think it's a good sign for the company, relatively speaking, and only relatively speaking.
I like it. Yeah, we'll have to see how that all works out. Good luck there, Adair. Let's talk about the Department of Energy kicking off their first advanced nuclear fuel pilot. So the DOE has conditionally selected Standard Nuclear as the first company accepted into its new fuel line pilot program that was announced back in July. The pilot is a core part of President Trump's EO executive order on deploying advanced nuclear reactors, obviously for national security and what he calls energy independence. The program is kind of designed to eliminate U.S. reliance on foreign enriched uranium and promote the private sector investment in advanced nuclear technology. Standard Nuclear will build and operate the fuel facilities in both Tennessee and Idaho under the DOE's authorization. So the new facility will focus on triso fuel. I don't know exactly what this is, but according to the article, it's a critical material for next-gen nuclear reactors. And the fuel pilot supports the Department of Energy's broader advanced reactor pilot program, which targets at least 3 reactors achieving criticality by July 4th of 2026. It's a whole lot of and macro speak there, but you do like the push into nuclear, at least, for these data center AI buildouts, as well as the EV infrastructure, which, if you're believing the projections, will be over capacity, will require more than what we have right now in terms of energy, Joey. So interesting look. And you also got to say, shout out to Canada. We got uranium in spades. Shout out to Saskatchewan, baby. Come to us.
Yeah, a lot of energy. We heard Kevin O'Leary talking about it.
Did he?
Yeah, we were talking a lot about, he was, I think Adair conducted the
Adair asked him about it.
Yeah, exactly. So just from an energy standpoint, we have the opportunity to be a powerhouse, right? Fuel a lot of these data centers that are being built in the States as well, too. So yeah, really good look on that one. We'll see. But as for the actual XLE energy space, for me, not even anything I'd be looking to get involved in personally. I want more risk on, right? I want to go with what the flow is. And I think right now that is going to be tokenization. This is me personally. Tokenization and obviously the AI boom. So that's something that I want to continuously focus on for the foreseeable future until otherwise.
I like it. Adair, give us your take quick because we're a little bit tight on time.
To give my take, and my take is actually about a different side of this. So regardless of, I think, nuclear energy space looking really good, commodities-based energy maybe not so good. We did have Wells Fargo's institutional alarm actually downgrading the outlook for the commodity side of things. So we had CVX move lower, XOM actually spiked lower when this came out. So you can kind of see here, I think it was this push lower, regardless, kind of recovering now. But the point is, I think energy is not a one-size-fits-all game anymore. Maybe it hasn't been for a while, but I think now it's very clear you kind of have to pick your lane. Nuclear, which seems to be doing very well. It's gotten support from the Department of Energy, or these more traditional names. And to be fair, the more traditional names do have upside as well with drill, baby, drill. So there could always be strength there too. But yeah, I think it's very much how you want to play them. If you're trading them longer term, should be distinctly different, I think.
And that's always like the decision, the dichotomy. Do you invest in the commodity, or do you invest in the company that takes the commodity and makes it into a product with margin? So great point by you, Adair.
Thank you.
Great point. All right, one quick one over here. Caterpillar, we didn't really get to this one. We'll just cover it super quick as the boys get ready. So Caterpillar fell. I don't know where it's at right now after missing Q2 profit expectations, despite beating the sales estimate and raising their full year outlook. So EPS, adjusted EPS, that is, dropped to $4.79. That was below the $4.89 the street wanted. And also markedly down from where it was last year on the quarter, where they printed $5.99, Joey. Net income also declined 18.7%, down to $2.18 billion, marking the second straight EPS miss and the third in the last 4 quarters. We'll get to why, because they keep reinvesting more in research and development. Total sales dipped as well, 0.7% year over year, down to about 16.5, a little bit more than $16.5 billion, but slightly above consensus. The street wanted 16 1/3. Sales volumes, though, did increase and was offset by a $414 million impact from lower pricing. Their segment performance here was kind of mixed. Energy and transportation sales grew 7%, up to $7.25 billion, with construction industries revenue declining 7%, down to $6.2 billion, really kind of reflecting the pricing pressure and possibly what could be slower demand, Joey. So CAT expects moderate sales growth. Now we're talking about the guide in Q3, while the consensus is about a 6.6%, I should say, year-over-year growth based on that $16 billion top line number. And the full year outlook now calls for sales to be slightly higher than in 2024, but that was revised upward from the prior about flat forecast.
Yeah, so to just go back onto the point where you guys said, are you going to use the commodity or the company that you are looking to the commodity or the company that uses it? All right. I think this is going to be the same instance in CAT. You're building data centers. You're building. There it is. CAT. Someone's got to use the excavators. You need the machines to dig. And I think CAT's going to benefit from that, as well as John Deere too. So.
Adair, a final say on CAT? Okay, no worries. Take your time. Okay, so we will. It's okay, Adair. We'll because we're about. Okay, we're going to Adair. She's got news.
Yeah, sorry about that. Novo Nordisk's popping here. I would keep an eye on HIMS and HERS. Apparently, the company just announced they're expanding their legal action to protect their U.S. patients from, quote, unsafe, non-FDA-approved compounded semaglutide. So Novo Nordisk's popping here as they basically deride companies like HIMS and HERS. HIMS and HERS dumping